Claytriates, it's your boy, Technically Clay, streaming at you on this wonderful, wonderful Sunday morning from uh sunny but chilly St. Louis, Missouri. Yeah, it's not too bad out. I kind of like a little bit of the chilly weather, and it really helps, uh like I like opening up the windows and stuff and getting some fresh air inside the house and all that sort of stuff. So that I think it's a pretty good day. It's a wonderful day here in St. Louis, and I hope it's a wonderful day wherever you are as well. Um since the last time you saw me, I went and canvassed for Cory Bush yet again. I think this one went really well. A whole lot of people answered the door, which is like, when you're, I don't know if anybody out there has canvassed before, but like, it's usually like I'd say like 10 to 1 ratio of people who like don't answer the door to who do. This time I feel like it was like 5 to 1. Like people were answering all the time. I was having conversations with a whole lot of people. I think I maybe influenced a couple people. So there you go. You're welcome, Cory. And yeah, that was fun. It was a little chilly out yesterday too, but with a like light jacket on, it was great. Then I came back home, and then me and my wife, we had some friends over to do a game night. Just like we were going to do board games, but we decided to just do Jackbox games. And I had like maybe like 4 beers, so I'm feeling a little bit. I got that post 30 level of alcohol, like ability to consume alcohol at this point. So yeah, I feel a little bit tired. I didn't get the best sleep. I'll probably need a nap later, but it is what it is. Um, Unfortunately, I am not a time god. I am not able to freeze myself at my optimal age when I was able to consume like 12 beers in a night and not feel anything the next day. So, you know what? Maybe someday technology will get there, though. Then after, yeah, so I went to sleep, woke up. What did I do this morning? I did a little bit of like cleaning stuff. I took a bunch of recycling to the we in St. Louis. They stopped doing like pickup recycling because nobody was able to do it. Like we failed. We failed as a city to do pickup recycling. Everybody just threw their trash in the recycling bins, and then it contaminated like 90%, I think. And so they said, if you're going to do recycling, you have to take it to an actual location now. So I went ahead and did that this morning. I picked up some groceries, and then I came right here to be with you, the viewer. Hello. I am here, and today is just going to be a normal, everyday Technically Clay stream where I'm going to go over the news of the day. I prepared a little bit, but at least to get us started, but I might have to hit up the For You page afterwards, and that will be that. So let's go ahead and get right into it because we got
What do we
something
know?
right off the bat. Yeah, so Hormuz Strait, it was closed again, like officially by Iran yesterday. It's like going back and forth. It can't make up its mind. We might need to rename it from the Strait of Hormuz to the Bay of Hormuz because it can't make up its goddamn mind. I'm just kidding, people. I don't think that bi people just can't make up their mind. Okay, I'm not one of those people. I think bi people are valid and their existence is valid, and we should all validate them. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to make jokes. Okay. Anyway, yeah. So apparently, Iran, just to like reassert and I think keep up with because America kept the blockade, which was a dumb move. I put a video out about that yesterday. Best thing America could have done is to just, okay, Iran saying it's open, we're going to remove our blockade. And then there goes that one pressure point of the oil being, the oil market, global oil markets being screwed, which was one of the key limiting factors of America's ability to continue the war. So I think they really shot themselves in the foot by not just like fully reopening it. So now Iran says, well, since it's not going to be fully open, then we're going to close it for everybody again. And so apparently, I think this morning, Iran fired on a tanker and container ship, apparently, to, reassert that control, like with military pressure. And so now it's just going to be completely closed because Well, let's go ahead and start the video, and then I'll give some more analysis as we go. I don't want to front load too heavily with what I think is going on here. So let's go ahead and start this video from the Clinton News Network, CNN. Here we go.
As to what's happening right now in the Strait.
Yeah, interesting as well, listening to the president saying that he's not going to be held hostage by Iran. He did say that he thought things were going along well. I think everyone thought about 5 or 6 hours ago. Since then, the Iranians have appeared to attack 2 shipping vessels in the Strait of Hormuz. One tanker just off the coast of Oman, so very close to the Strait of Hormuz, said 2 IRGC Iranian gunboats came at it and didn't talk to it on the radio, literally opened fire on this tanker. The crew and the vessel are reported safe. And then about 2 hours later, in the same area, an unidentified projectile hit a container ship. Some of the containers damaged. No fire, no environmental damage. But this comes just hours after the Iranians said they were reversing their opening of the Strait of Hormuz. We've heard a lot of pushback from hardliners in Iran saying that that move essentially was too soft and that...
Yeah, I mean, it was. Like, I think it was. They should have had assurances that America was going to remove the blockade. If they were going to do this at all as a gesture of goodwill, which I always say, like, is a risky strategy to give any sort of gesture of goodwill to America, because they will interpret any gesture of goodwill as capitulation and weakness. That's just the nature of America, like American stupids and who have ascended to power, is they are unable to perceive like anybody doing anything out of a, like, as a, yeah, just a gesture of goodwill as anything other than weakness, which will end up biting them in the ass, obviously, in the long run, as we're kind of seeing here. Iran always had the capability to reclose the strait in its entirety. And like I said, they were just like letting people, like, America got the perfect situation where Iran said, we're going to open the strait. And that was the FM who said it, which I don't know how much coordination there is between the FM and the IRGC, who is, like, really, I would say, really more in control right now. But they had the perfect situation where if they would have just ended the blockade, then oil could have flown freely through the markets again and ended this global shortage that is ramping up right now. It's only starting to ramp up because of how slow it, like, how long it takes for oil to ship around the globe. But, like, East Asia, EU, all of these places are starting to run desperately low on oil. And those are some of the main pressure points that are going to force America to stop this, like, stupid war of choice that we got into, which means the more pressure that builds on America to do that, the worse America's bargaining position is going to be overall. So essentially, they had a chance to relieve one of those major pressure points, and they chose not to do it, like fucking idiots. And it's like, I don't know. I'm just like, because I don't really have, like, I want, you know, I think what's best for the world right now is for America to take a pretty big bloody nose in this excursion in order to, you know, hopefully stop it from doing this again to every other country around the world. So, like, in a sense, Iran is, like, stepping in and, like, taking the punches so that the rest of the world doesn't have to. So, like, I do think that America needs to take a pretty big hit here in order to just stop Arpedo, at least, from going marauding from country to country like a band of, like, vandal or, like, vagrants, just, like, destroying and destabilizing every country they come across. So I'm not that opposed, but, like, Iran always had the cards here, and that they always militarily could control the Strait of Hormuz. Nothing America does is going to change that, aside from a full occupation, like Iraq style, the entire country, full occupation. And that's assuming they're even capable of doing it, which, given what I've seen so far with our competencies, I'm really leaning against. So let's keep going here, though.
They are not responding well to the fact that President Trump said that the U.S. blockade would remain in place. Iran accuses the United States here of not following through on its obligations on the ceasefire. So we've gone from a point of early this morning where things looked like they were moving along well, talks getting close, people talking about potential of talks here in Islamabad in a couple of days, Iranians upping the ante, and I think perhaps that gets to what the president said. He's not going to be held hostage, and he said he's expecting an update on the situation later today.
Again, what are you going to do? Iran militarily controls it. You can't stop that. There's nothing you can do that stop that. They need one gunboat or one missile. That's all they need to shut it down in its entirety, as we just saw by when they shot a missile at this tanker. Nobody's going to go through it now. So what's America going to do? There's nothing they can do. Iran just has that power. Like, they have that power, and America can't do anything about it, aside from a full-scale ground invasion, which I don't think they have the political will to do anyway. So, but we'll see.
Nick, how much of this has to do with the situation in Lebanon with Israel, or are these events concentrated based on concerns over the Strait itself?
I don't think it's related.
Absolutely. The Iranians opening the Strait of Hormuz was based on the fact that they saw President Trump and the Pakistani negotiators, the Field Marshal here, Munir.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was a gesture of goodwill towards America, like saying, if you stop Israel, if you rein in your fucking attack dog just a little bit, we will open it up as a gesture of goodwill. And yeah, that's how it started. But I don't think that this iteration of like shooting on the tankers and stuff is in any way related to the conflict in Lebanon. As far as I know, that ceasefire is like kind of holding, but I think there are still skirmishes happening in the south. But I have another video on that later to catch up on, so we'll figure more out about that later.
This ceasefire in Lebanon, that was a big part of moving things forward. But the Iranians, they then did a quid pro quo and opened the Strait of Hormuz because, of course, they wanted that ceasefire in Lebanon. They thought there'd be a positive response from the White House. That's what they're saying. What we've witnessed is a negative response in Iran to President Trump's response. We've even seen internal tensions in Iran between the hardliners and the moderates. The moderates are the ones who were in the negotiations. The hardliners had been saying that, had been threatening to reclose the Strait of Hormuz. They've gone ahead and done that. Their gunboats appear to be attacking.
Yeah, at this point, I would say the hardliners have the better strategy. Like any sort of, like I said, any sort of act of goodwill or anything will be interpreted by America's, pedo elites as a act of capitulation. So you can't ever, unfortunately, like, I would love to live in a world where you could like negotiate in good faith and just like, give a gesture of goodwill to show that you're serious and stuff to America, and they like accept it and give a response or like a corresponding gesture of goodwill, like to move forward on these negotiations. But that's just not how America operates. And I think that the hardliners and the IRGC understand this much better. This is, in my opinion, a better strategy because of actually just reclosing it again. Because yeah, it'll just show that like, oh, you think that you have any control here, and it just like reasserts their dominance over the Strait, which America can't do anything about, and re-ups the whole, the global supply issues that will inevitably force America to accept Iran's terms. The longer it goes on, and the worse the global outrage gets against America, the worse the situation will be for their negotiating, and the worse strategic outcomes they will get from, a traditional capitalist geopolitical perspective, at least.
Maritime vessels, tankers, container ships close to the Strait of Hormuz. So the two things are interlinked, but we're now back to the bigger issue here of US-Iran tensions. Do we the talks, or does this latest escalation at the Strait of Hormuz, does it scuttle all of that?
The president said that we'll know more later today, and I imagine that will be the case. Nick Robertson in Islamabad, thank you for that report.
This latest escalation could mean big issues for oil and gas prices. So let's discuss now with Yahoo finance correspondent Ben Worshkel. Ben, good morning to you. Obviously, the impact, the consequence of these Iranian gunboats firing on a tanker go beyond that exchange. It's the chilling, as Nick said, of any willingness of any of the other companies to send their vessels through. Fit this piece of the puzzle into what has been clear as mud over the last 24 hours about the Strait of Hormuz.
It hasn't been. It's been incredibly clear. If you've been watching my stream, you would know like what's going on here. I talked about it from the beginning that America is interpreting like thinks that this is some big win. Their blockade is some sort of big win that is going to change anything strategically. It's a nothing burger. Like the long-term like strategy of the war, like like it doesn't change the fundamental problem that America has, in that the longer this goes on, the worse the global economy will be doing, and the more pressure will be put on Trump to accept a bad deal by international partners, and even by like some of the American pedo billionaires who like originally wanted this war, but might start to realize, oh, this actually isn't as good for my pocketbooks as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I think chilling is the right word here, and this is a chill that's been in evidence even through all these ups and downs from the shipping industry, even with this announcement of an opening of the Strait of Hormuz. These latest developments in the last hour will clearly amplify that further. But the shipping industry has been very wary, even as oil prices have come down, of increasing their shipping through. We've seen ships start to come through and then turn around. We've seen a few, as Nick mentioned, a cruise ship getting through, but that is sort of more of the exception rather than the rule at this moment. Prior to the war, it was over 130 ships that would pass through the Strait of Hormuz on a given day. Now we're hoping for sort of 20 on a given day, and we're not even there yet. So what I'm hearing a lot from the shipping industry is that this is going to be a long road back, even in a best case scenario here of a Strait of Hormuz, some sort of level of reopening. Obviously, the last couple hours have made that even more difficult, but this is going to be a long road back with hundreds and hundreds of ships still stuck on either side of the strait.
Yeah, those vessels, and we can put the map back up, they're not moving on rhetoric, right? They need some proof, they need some security. The oil prices yesterday certainly moved on rhetoric. Brent crude down 9%. Around $90 or so a barrel. I wonder, is the expectation that after what we saw today, that the inverse is going to happen?
It could be, yeah. We will the oil prices. We won't know sort of how the oil prices move.
Okay. I would okay. All these people out there who are just like all these market gurus who are so good at money and so intelligent with money, and are able to like are definitely placing all of these things not as a form of currency or like market manipulation or whatever, like betting on these things going up or down based on the rhetoric of Trump. I'm going to give you some advice, okay? This isn't over in the slightest. This conflict is going to go on, I think, for a while. I don't think there's going to be a negotiated settlement like by Tuesday. Like if we're lucky, the best case scenario is that this temporary ceasefire gets extended for a little while, and the hot war just never starts up again. Like that's kind of like, I think the best case situation is America just tucks its tail and runs. Iran, like there's no formal agreement to the end of the war. Iran has control of the strait. Iran has destroyed most of the bases in the region, the military installations in the region. Maybe Iran continues firing on Israel if Israel continues firing on them. And Iran can open or close the Strait of Hormuz whenever they want. Like that's kind of like probably the best case scenario. The worst case scenario is we end up in a hot war again at the end of this, like this Tuesday or whenever the ceasefire ends. And then that goes on for an extended period of time. America does a bunch of random or operations that it tries to do to change the actual strategic trajectory of the war that all probably fail, like honestly. And then we get right back to where we were. And I think that in the end, it's going to end up probably something like what I said before is probably going to happen regardless of the timeline. But I think it's my personal opinion is that it's probably going to be a while. So, markets, I mean, I know that the markets are the gods of our society, and we we must we must trust in them or whatever. But I'm going to give a little bit of advice to the markets of like what is probably going to happen. If you want to try to make some money off of my guess, then go for it.
For a little bit, given it's the fact that it's the weekend, but the ships are simply not going to move until there's a lot more clarity on this. Another aspect of this that's important is that even this opening of the Strait of Hormuz from the Iranian side has been couched as towards the end of this ceasefire. That ceasefire is set to end on Wednesday, and even President Trump has talked in the last day about resuming bombing after that. So these shippers need a lot more certainty here about whether they can pass through, whether they can get the insurance to get through, and kind of increase the oil flows that were to pre-war levels. We're a long ways from that, and even if we see a lot of good developments in the last week, it's going to be weeks and weeks after that before we kind of see markets fully stabilize on this.
All right, Ben, let's.
Well, and even then, it'll be a new paradigm, because Iran will have complete control over the Strait. Whether they decide to toll it or not will be entirely up to them to make that decision. And so, like, I don't know exactly how that would impact prices or anything. I think it would really potentially impact the petrodollar. But yeah, I think the end of this war will end in a new paradigm, in my opinion, where Iran is like the regional hegemon who has complete and total control over what happens in the region. That's at least the vibe that I'm getting, just given the current like material conditions of what was happening before the ceasefire. Despite what the spin America tries to put out there, I don't necessarily think that's changing.
Let's talk gas prices. The president was in Nevada talking up the economy. By the way, $4.99 a gallon in Clark County. Nationally, the average this morning, according to AAA, is $4.06. Here's the president talking about the economy, his narrative on gas and the economy at large.
Well, they're not very high. If you look at what they were supposed to be in order to get rid of a nuclear weapon, with the danger that entails. In the report released last week, core inflation was down to the lowest level in 5 years, and very shortly we're going to be probably 8 or 9 years. Don't forget, we're having some fake inflation because of the fuel, the energy prices. We had
fake
the
inflation.
best economy in the history of our country.
I assure you, it's very real inflation. I had to fill up my tank the other day. It sucked.
My first term, and we're blowing it out now. We're blowing it away now. Despite our little diversion,
blowing out the backs of the inflation
diversion to the lovely country of Iran.
Yeah, and the president also saying that, prices on gas are going to come falling down. The initial narrative from the White House was short-term pain for long-term gain, and now it sounds like it's shifted to what pain?
Yeah, and exactly. And I think that the price of coming down of gas is going to be a long-term process here. There's an economics terms called rockets and feathers, where prices at the pump shoot up like a rocket. I think everyone who's had to fill up their car in the last months has seen that side, but then it comes down much more slowly, like a feather going down. That's been a problem for presidents for years, and Biden felt it almost exactly 4 years ago with the invasion of Ukraine, with high prices there. And I think we're going to be talking about.
Well, the problem also is that it's a slow moving commodity, and the effects of this are going to be, months. Even if everything ended today, would be months, if not years, for like the production just to get up to the level that it was before, let alone the just like the monopolization of the industry that price that has them all kind of price setting and all agreeing, not like formally or with like handshakes, like but like with like winks and nods, like, hey, let's all not lower the prices. Let's keep making some profits here. Like there's that aspect as well. That last part though, that can be fixed with just policy. Like if Trump just goes out there and says, like, you better lower the gas prices or the government is going to seize all of your profits by force. Like, then they would probably be like, okay, yeah, we won't make any more profits than what we were before. Like, we'll just bring the price down. Like that part can be, that part is the most malleable, but the rest of it is static. Like, you can't really affect how much the supply crunch is going to hit. And like the fact that a lot of these energy installations in the region were completely destroyed, or not completely destroyed, but will take like months, potentially years to get back up to the productive capacity that they were before.
That a lot all the way through the summer. There's new projections from Gas Buddy that talk about, the prices now are over $4 a gallon, but even early estimates there of a best case scenario, and I think the developments this morning cast further doubt on that, only $350 a gallon gas by the end of the summer. That's months and months away. 380 as the summer begins. So this is going to be, the projections are a very slow process down.
Okay. Yeah. So there you go. That's, I guess, what's going on. Gunboat, I guess, hit a tanker, or fired on a tanker, and I think a missile struck one. And yeah, it's definitely officially closed. That's all it takes. One missile, one gunboat. That's all it takes to close down the Strait. And Iran, yeah, they've done it again. So, and there's nothing America can really do about it. So let's go with that being said, with nothing America being able to do about it, let's go check in with Fox. Fox and Friends, they were really on their high horse when America did this blockade that I knew from the beginning was like, it's like a manufactured victory, like, because it didn't change the trajectory of the war whatsoever. So Fox and Friends, they heard about this blockade and they thought it was the most brilliant thing in the world. And Iran was begging now. They knew they were on the verge of economic collapse. We haven't heard that about them before, right? People over the past like 20 years, they've always been on the verge of economic collapse. But this time they were for real on the verge of economic collapse, and they were ready to negotiate. Like, they were going to give away all of their missiles. They were going to and they were going to give Donald Trump a big old smooch as well, as a capitulation for this brilliant tactical move that they did with the blockade. But now Iran has apparently reclosed it. Everybody's got to crash back down to reality now that Iran does still militarily completely and totally control the Strait. And so let's see how Fox News is dealing with that reality. So this is Justin. Trump holds Situation Room meeting on Iran amid Hormuz crisis. Let's see what they have to say.
President Trump reportedly holding a Situation Room meeting yesterday with top officials as he weighs whether or not to extend the ceasefire with Iran, which ends Tuesday night.
Chief Foreign Correspondent Trey Yingst joins us now from Israel with the latest. Trey, good morning.
Yeah, hey guys, good morning. The ceasefire between the United States and Iran is set to expire in just 72 hours. And already the Iranians are testing the agreement. Over the weekend, two vessels that were trying to pass through the Strait of Hormuz reported gunfire toward their ships. Other vessels were able to pass, but the Iranians say the strait is closed once again and in their control.
If traffic is still taking place in the Strait today and is proceeding, we control the Strait. Now, for 2 or 3 days, the U.S. has deliberately laid siege. What does siege mean? It means that everyone comes and goes, but Iran doesn't go. What a foolish and ignorant decision.
Yeah. Well, that was what I said. It was the biggest own goal that America could have possibly done in this situation. Like, they just shot themselves in the foot so hard by not opening up the blockade. They could have had free flow of oil, the one thing they need in order to keep this conflict going on indefinitely, which is probably what they want to do right now. So, yeah, it was just the dumbest decision they could have possibly made. But yeah,
Iranian ports remains.
I don't necessarily expect America to be very, I don't think that they read their Art of War when I don't think Hegseth did whenever he was applying for the job of commander of the Department of War.
An ignorant decision.
The U.S. blockade of Iranian ports remains in effect. CENTCOM said that 23 vessels complied with their warnings to turn around on Saturday. Additional vessels were forced to turn around today. President Trump spoke from the Oval Office over the weekend about the situation in the Strait.
They got a little cute, as they have been doing for 47 years. Nobody ever took them on. We took them on. They have no Navy. They have no Air Force. They have no leaders. They have no nothing. Actually, their leaders are, it is
nothing.
regime change.
Yeah, he always just says the same thing over. He really beats your head over, beats you over the head with the messaging that he wants out there. But I've talked about how those are like those are not really that important. Like no Navy, no Air Force, no or no leadership, like decapitation strikes. All of those are strategically insignificant in the actual trajectory of the war.
The Iranians continue to threaten U.S. forces in the region, but while the Iranians are talking, the Americans are preparing, sending dozens of additional transport planes to the region over the weekend.
The upper hand is with our forces. We hold the advantage. We have not struck many of the targets. In other words, we have left some more important matters for later stages. And if matters return to war again, we hold the upper hand. Yeah, we can stop oil production. We can shut down 15 million barrels of oil a day and keep it suspended for an entire year. We did not want to create major disruption in the world, so we showed patience.
Always think about who does closing the Strait entirely benefit more? Who does it benefit more? Because yes, there is a hit that Iran would take not being able to ship oil to China or wherever they want to sell their oil, right? They can still sell some over land routes, but it's not as efficient, right? So it does give them a hit to their economy. That is true. But who like America and the rest of the globe need that oil like yesterday. They need it yesterday. The Philippines are going to have rolling blackouts. Like many like of the modern quote unquote like Western societies in Europe and all that sort of stuff will have to start rationing their oil. Like this is something that has never happened to most like Western countries. And then like obviously the price of gas and all that and the price of goods and inflation is going up in America. Like all of this is going to pressure America way more than it's going to pressure Iran. So it was the dumbest decision they ever could have made to not open up the blockade as soon as Iran agreed to open up the Strait. Like that was the dumbest thing they could have possibly done. And now, now we're going to live through even more of an energy crisis than we could have if America wouldn't have been, big old dummies about their strategy, their lack of strategy, I should say.
And acted with restraint.
The reality is the United States has the upper hand, the most powerful military in the world that is preparing if negotiations fail. Guys?
So Trey,
that's a subjective opinion. Yes, they do have the most powerful military in the world. However, we already saw how little they were able to accomplish militarily against Iran in the past. It's not going to be, nothing's going to change in the future unless they decide to commit to doing a ground invasion. We'll see if they decide to do that. And even then, I wouldn't say that long term that's going to succeed, but it would put it would make things a lot worse for Iran in the interim.
Clear this up, because there seems to be some confusion about whether the Strait is open or not.
I spoke with regional sources over the weekend who said the Strait is effectively closed because the Iranians are now firing on vessels that are trying to pass through. We know that some vessels were able to make it through the Strait, but the Iranians came out after President Trump said the Strait was open, saying that it's closed and it's in their control. What's interesting, though, is that the Iranian foreign minister even said exactly what President Trump was saying only hours later to be rebuffed by his own state media through officials there in the IRGC, saying that the foreign minister's statement was incorrect. So the Iranians don't even know the answer to that question. And it gives you a sense of how effective the U.S. and Israeli campaign against the Iran.
How effective it's been that you can't have any sort of like negotiation or any sort of like agreement with their leadership because they're so quote unquote destabilized. I think what's happening here is there is probably a disconnect in Iranian society between the people who are negotiating right now, who are probably more of the old guard, like the people that America like that we're willing to potentially like agree to certain terms that America wants, and the new guard, which is the IRGC command structure, who understand exactly how America is and like what they need to do to to end up strategically victorious in this war and not capitulating to America's demands. So, and I would say the people who are truly in charge are the people with the guns, the IRGC. They might allow for negotiations to take place, but if the negotiations don't bring about an outcome that I think that the IRGC thinks is a good enough outcome to deter America from doing this in the future, I have a feeling that they're not going to accept it. So, yeah, I don't know. I think we're about to see a lot more cope from Fox News about all this right now.
Iranian regime was over the past 45 days because it sent an inability for the Iranians to communicate within their ranks. And also there are clear disagreements between not only the foreign minister, but also the speaker of Iran's parliament and top IRG.
By the way, even if that is true, that's your fault, America. Like, if you wanted a actual negotiating partner, then you shouldn't have done all the decapitation strikes. And also, you should have left the old guard, like Khamenei before, who was basically a peaceful dove who was trying to get some sort of peaceful deal with the West. Even at great cost to Iran, you killed all of the people who were like willing to give you everything you ever wanted, and left all the people who are much more hardline and are going to balk at your negotiation strategy. So this is all your fault, America, like that you can't find someone to negotiate. It's so funny that they're like claiming that this is some sort of victory, that they're unable to extricate themselves from this conflict because there's nobody to talk with. Like, I don't think you should, like, that's not a victory. That's your strategic, like, stupidity. That is your stupidity in making strategic decisions that is making this conflict last much longer and end on worse terms for you. Like, what are you talking about?
BBC officials about what to do with the Strait of Hormuz. Guys?
Trey, so the Iranian regime is saying, well, we've got the upper hand and we can just shut off oil for, up to a year if we want, and that'll hurt you, but it actually hurts China, right? The most?
Most.
Yeah, it hurts.
It doesn't. I mean, it does hurt China. That's 9% of their production, but China has other sources that they can go to.
China and other countries. The United States relies very little on the oil that is passing through the Strait of Hormuz, just a few percentage points when you look at the spreadsheet for American usage of this oil. Some European countries, the number is 20 or 30%. But as it relates to the Iranians, what they are describing here is actually a situation that is hurting their economy, not the U.S. economy.
Dude, this is so much cope. I just explained exactly why it's not the case. Like, I literally just talked about this, but it's not about the impact to America. Americans are relatively insulated. I don't disagree with that assessment. But number one, America is energy self-sufficient. Now, that doesn't mean that America doesn't import oil, and America does need to export oil to the rest of the world as well. Like, they would, if America wanted to be completely unimpacted by this, they would have to stop selling oil to the rest of the world, which would cause them to go into shortages even faster. But that's not the main problem. The problem is that the rest of the world is going to be impacted significantly more. The Western countries who have had stable energy for decades at this point are going to start having rolling blackouts. Like, people who live in, like, Europe, like people who live in like cities in Europe, like in Germany or whatever, are going to start having rolling blackouts eventually, like where they're not able to charge their phones or watch TV. Like, that's a huge deal. That's going to impact them a lot more than Iran losing potentially like 10% of its revenue, with the Strait being shut down.
Because the Iranians use Karg Island for 90% of their crude oil processing. The Strait of Hormuz is a critical waterway to export their oil. So the U.S. blockade of Iranian ports was described to me today as strategic excellence by President Trump, understanding that this is choking off the main ability.
I describe it as a strategic wet fart.
For the Iranian economy to function. And so while the Iranians make many of these statements publicly, privately, they are very worried about what is taking place. And again, they don't hold the cards at the negotiating table or on the battlefield. And it gives President Trump a variety of options if the Iranians are unwilling to move the needle. Remember, just over the weekend, it looked like there was some progress being made toward a second round of direct talks between the United States and Iran. Now the Iranians are saying they're going to keep the Strait of Hormuz closed. They are saying they're not willing to give up their highly enriched uranium, and they say they are prepared to return to war with the United States. They're trying to call President...
You should also keep in mind that Iran is in a wartime economy. Things like GDP and growth and all that sort of stuff like kind of go out the window when you're in a wartime economy and you're just pumping all of your money into your defense industrial base and all that sort of stuff. So yes, it will have an impact, but I just don't think it's going to be that big of an impact on Iran compared to the rest of the world. Like if this, for instance, if this did go on for a year, Iran would still be making missiles. Iran would still be shooting missiles. Iran would still be, you know, like they would still be in the exact same strategic military position. Yes, their people may have suffered more potentially, but their people are willing to, like, I assume, hunker down and like bear that cost as this war continues because they believe in the cause. It's the exact opposite with the rest of the world, where they do not believe in the cause of this war. I just don't think they're going to be able to handle the actual economic impact of 20% of the oil being gone. And also Iran holds a lot more cards as well. They could shut down the Red Sea. That'd be another 20% of the oil gone through the Houthis. Like they could, that would also shut down Saudi Arabia's way of exporting oil as well. They could, obviously they could go back to a hot war, hitting the desalination plants, all that sort of stuff. Like there's cards that Iran has been holding strategically for the future. So yeah, but they can never even acknowledge just basic reality because they need to continue to they need to continue projecting that America isn't like a dying empire, which it is. America is currently behaving like a dying empire, an empire that is unable to achieve any of the strategic outcomes that it's trying to set in place. And they have to pretend like that's not the case in order to keep all of their, you know, Fox News brained boomers like from, I don't know, having a heart attack or whatever if they had to find out the truth.
Trump's bluff. And as we have seen in the past, the president is not bluffing. He is very serious about the situation with Iran. And there are two options for the Iranians. Either they make a good faith deal and give up their enriched uranium, or it will be taken from them.
Trey, it's Lucas. Pakistani media is reporting today it looks like there's been some C-17 flights into Islamabad. It looks like talks could be resuming this week. You talk about the chaos inside Iran with the leadership, the IRGC versus the politicians. What do you think the next steps are with these talks? Could they be resuming this week?
It's a great question. There was a delegation from Pakistan that arrived in Tehran late last week and tried to move the ball forward. And the Iranians even acknowledged this. They said they received new proposals from the Americans, but they'd not yet responded. We're at the last minute here, down to the wire, less than 72 hours away before this ceasefire ends. And the president has indicated he's not really interested in extending the ceasefire agreement. If the Iranians are willing to make a good faith deal, they're going to make it right now. And so the question is whether or not there are going to be a second round of direct talks this week in Islamabad, Pakistan. Preparations appear underway for that possibility. But again, the president yesterday holding that situational assessment at the White House with top generals, military commanders, and cabinet officials. And so the president understands the battlefield here. And we are looking at a situation where there's either going to be an agreement or the war in some capacity is going to resume. And so in the coming days, we expect to get more information about the possibility of talks. President Trump has indicated he prefers a diplomatic option, but remains prepared should this campaign resume.
The clock is ticking indeed. Trey, thank you very much.
Thanks, Trey. Let's hope that things de-escalate and that negotiations resume. We'll make one note.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Let's hope that things de-escalate. But America lost the chance for that by continuing the blockade like a fucking idiot. So
this blockade on Iranian oil is really significant because their ability to store the oil that they're pumping.
Do you guys buy it yet? Do you guys buy it? I mean, they're telling you over and over again, this is strategically significant. They're saying it literally every other sentence. They keep saying the blockade is strategically significant. Hey, you, Fox News boomer, The blockade is strategically significant. Hey, Fox News Boomer, this blockade is strategically significant. It's not, dude. If you have to try this hard to get people on board into believing that it is like I'm using critical thinking and like my understanding of the conflict and how it was during the hot portion versus the ceasefire to come to my analysis that it is not strategically significant. But also, if you keep on telling me like this over and over again, how strategically significant you think it is, it's also going to make me just think, okay, you're full of shit. Like, you wouldn't be trying to project it this hard if it actually was, if people actually bought it. So, yeah, I don't know. This is a little bit like, I assume that most people can see through this stuff, but I guarantee the average Fox News viewer can't.
Is almost at a max right now. And so people think, well, okay, so you just shut off your pump. It's not like a faucet. Right. If you're not constantly pumping, actually those wells can be damaged. So there could be long-term permanent damage or very expensive damage to these wells. And so they are thinking about that as well. They need that blockade. So we can do the blockade of their oil, and they're thinking about that as they're moving
Iran
forward.
doesn't want to make a deal unless the blockade gets removed.
Of course, because it's a part of it.
And the ultimate takeaway is that it further brings Iran's economy to its knees. Meanwhile, we are, from the economic standpoint, also increasing sanctions on anyone that receives that oil. So when you talk about the economic
flip-flop again, they flip-flopped again. They unsanctioned it to provide more oil to the world before. Now are they resanctioning it again? That, like, this is how you know that they are in a bind. They keep going back and forth. They can't make up their mind because, yes, you need the world to continue to receive oil if you want this conflict to go on for as long as, like, until you think you can get a better strategic position. The problem number one is you're never going to get that, like, strategic position that you think that you deserve or whatever to actually, like, win this conflict on your terms. Like, that's just not going to happen. But, like, number two, the world just needs oil more than Iran does in a wartime economy. So this is just, man, sometimes I can't take it. The amount of, like, coke that they have to do.
Damage to Iran, it is definitely a long felt pain.
But just to tell you about this,
I was just going to say it's hurting our economy. It's not detrimental, but it's hurting people. Let's make no mistake. And it has very serious political consequences for the midterm.
it does appear the talks will happen this week because already some notices have gone out to the hotels in Islamabad to clear out. Another delegation is coming in. That's just what happened last time with Vegas.
Hey, everyone. I'm Emily.
There you go. That's the Fox News interpretation. They live in Fox News world. They live in Fox News land, where everything is make-believe and rainbows inside your head. So every decision Trump makes is just like Sun Tzu is just being channeled through him, according to Fox News. I have a different opinion, obviously, from this video if you're watching it. But okay, let's go and watch another tangentially related one. I don't even know this one, ILTV. I assume that's like Israel news or something. I've never watched this channel before. But I did want to check in with this because I know so when this ceasefire happened, Israel was supposed to be a part of it. Israel and Lebanon, but Israel said no. Then Trump forced their hand in order to get Iran to open the blockade, and so then Israel said yes. But the problem I always found was that the negotiations were between Israel and Lebanon, and they did not invite Hezbollah to the table, who is the one who is actually out there, defending Lebanon, like defending Lebanese territory. So if they wanted any sort of like negotiation with like an end to the conflict between Israel and Lebanon, it would be, you need to ask Hezbollah to be there. So I wanted to watch this video because it's I'm assuming this is like Israel TV, ILTV Israel News. It says despite a U.S. brokered ceasefire largely holding, two IDF soldiers, IOF soldiers were killed and several wounded in separate explosive incidents in southern Lebanon. So it sounds to me like Hezbollah is still having clashes with Israel during this ceasefire, which makes sense to me. If you're in if you're on Lebanese territory, if you didn't withdraw, and if you're continuing to do any sort of movements at all inside of that territory, then yeah, I don't think Hezbollah is going to stop, hammering your ass. So let's go ahead and watch this video and see what's going on.
Welcome back to ILTV On the Hour. I'm Caleb Ben David, coming to you live from Israel with all of the headline stories from here and across the region. And here are the latest developments. Despite the ceasefire between Israel and Hezbollah announced by President Trump on Thursday night, 2 IDF soldiers were killed this weekend and about a dozen wounded in 2 separate incidents in South Lebanon. The fallen were named as Reserve Sergeant First Class Lidor Parat.
Rest in piss, war criminals. Go fucking die. Hell yeah. 2 more Nazis. Guys, we got 2 more Nazis are dead. Everybody celebrate with me together. Let's all have a party. Dun, 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 dun. Well, there's 2 more Nazis that are dead. Everybody. Woohoo. Okay, sorry. We you know I love to celebrate a good Nazi death. So let's continue.
31 who served in the Hiram Regional Brigade. Parat was killed and 9 others were wounded, including one seriously after being hit by an
maybe we'll get 1 more dead Nazi. Hell yeah.
Explosive device in South Lebanon on Saturday. In another incident, Reserves Warrant Officer Barak Kalfon, 48, from Adi.
And for those unaware, these people are committing war crimes daily. I assure you that these people have killed at least 1 baby, okay? These 2 right here have killed at least 1 baby apiece. I'm sure they've killed multiple women. I'm sure that they've killed plenty of civilians, hundreds of civilians each. Yeah, you can celebrate the deaths of Nazis. Like, we do it all. Like, we celebrated the defeat of the Nazis in the World War II. You're allowed to celebrate the deaths of Nazis. We should all collectively celebrate the deaths of Nazis. That's that's a basic human emotion. We should not try to hide it. It's bad to put down those emotions inside of your body. You got to let it out.
Was killed while conducting a search of a building in the South Lebanon.
But anyway, to get more serious for a second. So it sounds like 2 were killed, 11 injured in an operation by Hezbollah over the past weekend. That to me sounds like they're not stopping at all. Hezbollah doesn't seem like they have in any way stopped doing resistance operations towards Israel. Hezbollah has been going ham on Israel. And I think that a lot of people, including me at first, were surprised at how strong Hezbollah still is. And I think that they might be stronger than they even were before. So I have no, I think that if they want to get a true ceasefire with Lebanon or with Hezbollah, then I think they're going to have to do a full withdrawal of their troops from the territory, if I had to guess. And they're going to get pushed out eventually. Israeli occupation forces are incredibly weak. They are unable to they're unable to fight against actual adults, right? Like actual resistance groups, resistance organizations. They are only capable of killing women and children and other civilians, like the elderly and stuff. That's what they're used to killing. That's what they're used to bombing. They're used to doing it all from the air as well. So anytime that they do a ground invasion, they end up having a lot of casualties and a lot of people getting injured. And also, just a reminder, they're probably also covering up a significant portion of their injuries and deaths. The reason they're probably leaking this one, I would have to say, is to justify an upcoming atrocity that they're going to restart bombing Beirut or something and killing more women and children over there as retaliation for Hezbollah killing their actual military members, which is what Israel tends to do. Is when you actually do anything, if you accomplish something on the field, like you kill some of their occupation forces, or you blow up one of their tanks, they usually retaliate by killing as many babies as they possibly can. Like they try to attack they take it out on civilians. They have like a fucking child tantrum, and then they go out and kill as many civilians as they possibly can. That's how they usually respond.
Lebanese village of Jeban, when an explosive device there detonated. The blast killed Kalfon and wounded 3 other soldiers. May their memories be a blessing. But even with those...
Rest in piss. May their memories rest in piss where they deserve, man. They're going to be burning in hell for all of eternity. Let's all clap and have a good time. They're all living in hell forever. Hell yeah.
Incidents, the U.S. brokered 10-day ceasefire between Israel and Hezbollah has largely been holding, with no rockets fired from Lebanon across the border since midnight Thursday. Lebanon's army accused Israel of breaking the ceasefire with limited shelling in several villages. There's been no immediate response from the IDF. Posting the announcement of the ceasefire, President Trump raised some eyebrows here in Israel when he announced that Israel is banned from targeting Lebanon. Trump wrote, "The U.S. will separately work with Lebanon and deal with the Hezbollah situation in an appropriate manner. Israel will not be bombing Lebanon any longer. They are prohibited from doing so by the U.S. Enough is enough." Now, President Trump called the...
Yeah, well, we'll see if Israel obeys. I mean, Trump is really going full Brandon on this one. He's going to set up some red lines. If Israel violates those red lines, he's not going to do shit about it, dude. He's captured. He's completely captured by the Israel lobby and the just, I don't know, general groupthink consensus of the State Department. He's going full Brandon on this one, if I had to guess.
Ceasefire a potentially historic moment, and said he will, at an unspecified date, host Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Lebanese President Joseph Aoun at the White House for talks aimed at a permanent peace agreement.
You gotta invite Hezbollah. If you want a permanent peace, you have to invite Hezbollah to the table. You are never going to get a permanent peace without Hezbollah to the table. Inviting Hezbollah to the table. I don't understand what they are thinking. This is the dumbest thing ever. Are you going to, what, is Lebanon going to disarm Hezbollah? Okay. What? Lebanon couldn't disarm, I don't know, like a 12-year-old with a toy gun. The Lebanese army is going to disarm Hezbollah? I don't think so, dude. I don't even necessarily think if Lebanon and Israel teamed up against Hezbollah, if they would be capable of disarming Hezbollah. I'm not even sure if even that would do it. And Israel for sure also can't disarm Hezbollah. So if that's going to be the terms of the negotiations, then nothing's going to happen. I would say that their best option, if they want actual peace, is Israel needs to, get the fuck out of the territory that they're currently occupying. And then just make an agreement with Hezbollah. Okay, we won't attack you. You won't attack us. We'll stay in our borders. You stay in your borders. There you go. Boom. That's all you would probably need to do. Also, maybe some reparations to the people of Lebanon as well. Maybe a cool 100 bill from Israel. And then we can, and then there could be some, I would say limited peace, because Israel is incapable of being, peaceful for the long term, but at least some temporary peace against Lebanon, at least. And there's never going to be actual lasting peace until until the Palestinians are allowed to live with dignity and sovereignty. It will be forever destabilization by Israel as they try to push their borders out further and further in all directions, even though they are not gaining any new people to colonize those lands. A part of the colonization effort, by the way, for people unaware, is that you need, the funds, you need the military capability to protect it, and you need people, an influx of people, if you want to do these sort of colonization things. And they're not able to, they're not getting new people, and their military is incompetent and unable to accomplish anything. So I don't really foresee them actually being able to achieve their greater Israel project or whatever they're trying to do. But like I said, there's never going to be peace until the Palestinians are allowed to, until you break down the barriers, break down the walls. I would say make a single state between the river and the sea. That is, you can call it whatever the fuck you want, and that everybody has equal rights. Then I think you will potentially have peace. I think you actually would have peace at that point, because then Palestine or Pal Israel or whatever you want to call it would no longer have the political will to dominate and expand its borders in all directions, because there would be a significant portion of the population who is pro-peace, the Palestinians, as opposed to the portion that is bloodthirsty warmongers, the Israelis.
With Lebanon, it's very exciting. I think we're going to have a deal. We're going to have a meeting, first time in 44 years, and Lebanon will be meeting with Israel, and they're probably going to do it at the White House.
And with ceasefires now holding with both Lebanon and Iran, the Home Front Command has eased all restrictions on sporting events and cultural events in Israel starting last night. The decision means full activity will resume nationwide, with the public returning to stadiums, performance venues, and events without wartime limitations.
Maybe like that might hold up for a little bit, dude. I think this is going to start up though again eventually. So have a few days. You can have a couple weeks, Israel, of resuming your operations and trying to get things back to normal and having a good night's sleep. But I have a feeling that this is probably going to start up again, and you're going to have to go back to going in and out of bunkers for the next few months. So, take your little break right now. But
the announcement comes just days before Israel's Memorial and Independence Day commemorations coming this week on Tuesday and Wednesday.
Yeah, the Nakba Day, the day of genocide.
And on the Iran front, a second round of U.S.-Iran peace talks is expected to take place Monday in Islamabad. This according to Iranian sources cited by CNN. While Washington has not officially confirmed the meeting, President Trump has said Tehran has agreed to give up its highly enriched uranium and expressed confidence a deal can be reached in the coming days. Well, the 2-week ceasefire is due to end on April 22nd, which is also when Israel celebrates Independence Day. According to Trump, Israel...
Nakba Day, day of the catastrophe, the day that they, that they pushed 700,000 Palestinians out of their land and dispossessed them in a Trail of Tears situation. That's the day they're talking about. Just FYI, people.
Iran has agreed to stop funding Hamas, Hezbollah, and hand over its uranium stockpile. A Pakistani media says back-channel talks have made progress with a memorandum of understanding possible soon and a comprehensive deal within 60 days. Trump says the talks are set and the deal is near. Iranian officials appear less certain.
We had to do something. We had to make sure that Iran never gets a nuclear weapon. And we're at that. They've agreed to that. They've totally agreed to that. They've agreed to almost everything. So maybe if they can get to the table, there's a difference. They agree. They got to get to the table with a pen. We'll have that over with.
Iranian officials dispute President Trump's claims, saying his tweets or statements are misleading and just inaccurate.
American side tweets a lot, talks a lot, sometimes confusing, sometimes contradictory. In the same statement, he said other things as well. So I don't want to judge what he means. It is up to American people should decide whether his statements are consistent and are in accordance with the international law or not.
Okay. Oh, wait, more?
And that's a wrap for this update.
That's a wrap. Okay. Well, there we go. I don't know. This is really the only stuff I cared about was the beginning where they were talking about the people who died. But I probably yip-yapped a lot on that video if I had to guess. I think I probably talked way too much. But that's why you guys watch me. That's why you love me. Because I'm a talker. I'm a chatterbox. I just ramble about my opinions on stuff. And for some reason, some people like it. Some people watch it. There you go. Okay, let's go on to, okay. It is time for the Pope versus President Trump Twitter beef. Everybody, get your popcorn buckets, get your Pope-themed popcorn buckets. It's the shape of the giant hat he wears. They flip it over. I'm talking like if you go to the movie theaters, they have those weird themed popcorn buckets. So this is like a Pope hat that's like inverted, and you fill it up with popcorn. Everybody get those out. We are going to learn more about the okay, so the Pope versus President of the United States Twitter beef. Now that is a statement that I don't know if I ever thought I would say in my entire life. I'm going to be honest. That was a statement I did not ever, I really did not think that was ever going to be uttered from these lips, but apparently it had to happen. So anyway, I think that it seems like Pope Leo, he might feel like he's catching a little too much heat from the POTUS. He doesn't want, president after Epstein's fury, after our pedo elites are going and attacking Iran. He doesn't want them to then after that go after the Vatican, like start bombing the Vatican for the Pope's insolence towards the true God King that is Trump. Trump probably thinks that the Pope is like not like he's like he's the false God, and Trump thinks he's the real God. So he's like, I need to stop people from worshiping this blasphemous idol that is the Pope, whereas Pope thinks the exact opposite, the inverse. So anyway, Pope Leo, he was catching a little too much heat, and it sounds like he is he's ready to squash the beef, everybody. He's ready to squash the Twitter beef. He's ready to get on with his life. He's done saying America should stop doing war crimes. Like, okay, I'll stop saying it. Fine, you win. You can do all your war crimes. That's what the Pope is saying now. So, okay, let's go ahead. Let's get on with it already. Sunday Sorry, I'm just laughing at the fact that I did this entirely absurd monologue intro to what is likely like a Sunday school show or something. Oh God, I wonder if these people, if they're ever going, maybe they'll copyright strike me or something if they're gonna hate like all the stuff that I'm about to say, how much like fun I'm about to have with this video. But okay, let's go.
Pope Leo XIV delivered Mass this morning in Angola as part of an 11-day four-nation visit to Africa, promoting peace on the continent. He also spent part of the weekend attempting to turn down the rhetorical temperature after stunning recent attacks on the first American pontiff from the President of the United States, displeased with the Pope's...
Wait, is this... no, oh, okay, so is this actually NBC News? Oh, I thought this was like a church channel or something with the music at the beginning. It sounded like it was like going to be like a or bless, what is it? So it is unto thee and also unto you or whatever, or like the Arrested Development like show name. That's what the music made me think it was going to be. But maybe this is just NBC and they just put some like Christian core music at the beginning.
American pontiff from the President of the United States, displeased with the Pope's criticism of the war in Iran. NBC's Raf Sanchez has more in our Sunday Focus.
This week, Pope Leo traveling across Africa.
I love the Pope Mobile, man. It's the funniest thing to me. This contraption. I liked it better back. Didn't it used to be a box? Like, wasn't he just in a box, like a glass box? Man, it's so funny to me also because like even the president and like people of like super political importance don't usually go around and like, I guess they have like bulletproof glass and stuff on their limos and stuff. But like when they're out in public, they don't ever put, like when Trump goes up and gives a speech at a rally, they don't put him in a glass box or anything, which I don't know. It's just funny that the Pope does that though.
Greeting the faithful on a continent where the number of Catholics is rising faster than anywhere else on the planet. But what should have been a joyful trip overshadowed by the war with Iran, violence in Lebanon, and an escalating public standoff with President Trump. The Pope has been an outspoken critic of the war, not holding back after the president's threat to Iran that their whole civilization will die.
Attacks on...
To be clear, I think that he is being general with his statements intentionally, but I do think he probably is aiming them at the president.
Civilian infrastructure is against international law, but that it is also a sign of the hatred, the division, the destruction the human being is capable of.
The president firing back in multiple media appearances this week.
I'm not a big fan of Pope Leo. The Pope has to understand Iran, very simple. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon.
And then...
Yeah, why doesn't the Pope just get it already? It's so funny, dude.
Going even further, posting an image on social media portraying himself as a Jesus-like figure.
See, that one even got the conservatives all upset.
Most ardent supporters.
Riley Gaines. Oh, if you lost Riley Gaines, then you've lost everybody.
outraged, writing, "God shall not
That's
be
who
mocked,"
I think it is, right?
and "There's no context where this is acceptable." Mr. Trump later taking the image down.
Riley Gaines is the girl who got like 4th place or whatever, and lost to like a trans person who I think got 1st place. But she lost to like 3 other women as well, and that's now her entire media personality is that is her inability to beat 3 women and a trans woman. So yeah,
There's no context where this is acceptable. Mr. Trump later taking the image down, offering this explanation.
And I thought it was me as a doctor and had to do with Red Cross as a Red Cross worker there, which we support.
The Pope not backing down as he boarded the papal plane for Africa this week.
I have no fear of neither the Trump administration nor speaking out loudly about the message of the gospel. And that's what I believe. I am called to do what the church is called to do.
There's a long history of popes speaking out against war. In 1917, Benedict XV called the First World War a useless slaughter, while John XXIII spoke out against nuclear weapons, and John Paul II forcefully opposed the U.S. invasion of Iraq. President Trump and Pope Leo weren't always at odds.
To have the Pope from the United States of America, that's a great honor.
Well, yeah, that was back when they thought that that was back when they thought that if they just got an American Pope, then the American Pope that can be their like propaganda arm to all the Catholics. Like they wanted to use the Pope and the papacy or like the Catholic Church as a tool and a weapon of war. Like that's what they wanted to do, which is like definitionally blasphemous. But yeah, that's what they thought that they were going to get with an American Pope. They're like, finally, all these woke Euro cucks or whatever are out of it, are no longer going to be in charge of the Catholic Church, and we're going to get a good old like American corn-fed hog to be to go in there. But it's like, no, the Pope is still, you know, saying normal Pope stuff. Sorry, buddy. Also, Pope, don't shake his hand. Don't shake his hand. Don't do it. He killed the last one. He shook the last one's hand and he died immediately after. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Meanwhile, Vice President J.D. Vance, who converted to Catholicism and met with the Pope in May, raised eyebrows this week with this comment.
Never trust a late Catholic, like someone who turns Catholic in their like 30s or whatever. It's never for a good reason. I'll tell you that.
Catholicism and met with the Pope in May, raised eyebrows this week with this comment.
In the same way that it's important for the Vice President of the United States to be careful when I talk about matters of public policy, I think it's very, very important for the Pope to be careful when he talks about matters of theology.
Who are you? Who are you to question the word of God, J.D. Vance? Come on. What? You think you're better than the Pope? He's the closest man to God. Do you not understand your religion? Do I understand your religion better than you? Are you going against God right now in this statement? Come on, JD. What's your deal? I thought you were a God-fearing man. Apparently not. Apparently you think you know more than God does.
The Trump administration has repeatedly invoked Christian ideals as it justifies the war with Iran, casting it as a battle of good versus evil. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth calling on Americans to pray for victory and the safety of U.S. troops.
Please pray for them every day.
I don't pray to God, but I do pray to the markets. I pray to the markets every weekend, every Friday before the markets close, before the markets go to sleep, and they wake up again on Monday when there's a possible time for escalation in the war. I always pray to the markets. So, do you? Sean Stevenson says, I assume you mean Pope is Satan. Incarcerated. But okay, sure, dude, sure. If you think the Pope is Satan, I assume you're not a Catholic then, because Catholics believe that that the Pope is the closest person to God. So I'm assuming that you're not like a Catholic. Maybe you're an evangelical.
On bended knee, with your family, in your schools, in your churches, in the name of Jesus Christ.
Pope Leo trying to turn.
Also, I also assume you meant incarnated instead of incarcerated, but that's just me. I'm taking a lot of assumptions because of the grammar is a little, I don't know. It's not making sense to me. That might be me, though.
Down the temperature on Saturday, telling reporters his message of peace was written weeks ago.
It was looked at as if I was trying to debate, again, the president, which is not in my interest at all.
And Raf joins me
there it
now
is.
live.
See, he squashed the beef, everybody. Pope v. Trump. The beef has been squashed. They are now best friends again, okay? So no, we can all let it go. It was a fun moment in history to have the president of the United States having a Twitter beef with the Pope. It was a great time, but I think it's time that the beef is squashed and we can all move on with our lives.
Raf, good morning. So Defense Secretary Hexeth was among those continuing to talk about the president in biblical terms this week. But both the Pope, as we just heard there, and later Vice President Vance have attempted to de-escalate a bit this weekend. So how is this all playing with Christians here in America?
So, Willie, as you know, Christians in general, but Catholics in particular, are a key voting bloc in the U.S. There are more than 50 million Catholics across the country, many of them in key battleground states like Pennsylvania. And polls do seem to suggest the president's support is slipping somewhat among them. He got 55% of the Catholic vote in 2024, but his approval rating among Catholics now is down to 49%. It's also worth saying.
I mean, he also, he's also just lost a lot of support overall, like in general. So that's not that strange to me that he went down with Catholics, even if the Catholics had no opinion about his Twitter beef with the Pope or whatever. I think that just in general, just the economy and stuff has lost him a lot of his support, like just secular shit.
Among Catholics now is down to 49%. It's also worth saying that the Pope is just a less divisive figure in the U.S. than the president. You can see there.
Well, not according to Sean over here, but who I guess thinks he's Satan incarnated. But yeah, the Pope is at -8%. Are they saying? Yeah, I assume this is negative, as in like he's underwater in terms of public opinion or whatever. And Trump is at -53%, which is pretty rough. So yeah, I don't know.
More than half of Americans have a negative view of Mr. Trump, compared to just 8% for Pope Leo. And Willie, we did hear the Pope trying to
more
lower...
than that's just that you have a negative opinion of him. So 53% of people have a negative opinion of Trump. 8% have a negative opinion of the Pope.
8% for Pope Leo. And Willie, we did hear the Pope trying to lower the temperature. Vice President Vance now responding in kind, saying yesterday he will be in our prayers, and I hope that we'll be in his. Willie?
The administration perhaps realizing a fight with the Pope.
He's like, please, oh dear God, please let the Pope die. that's what he means by end his prayers. He meant it as a threat. He said, "You're going to be in my prayers, bitch." Okay, sorry, I'm having too much fun with this one. Let's go ahead and move on now to we're going to go to Cash Money. Podcaster, our favorite former podcaster turned FBI director turned apparently paranoid excessive drinker. That's what this one is about. Apparently Kash Patel has been having some issues. It seems like he's going to be one of the next ones to get ousted from the Trump admin. He really botched the Charlie Kirk investigation and a whole bunch of other investigations. There was also that one lady, that news anchor whose like mom was kidnapped or something. I don't even know what happened to that. I feel like the story just dropped off the radar, but I'm going to go ahead and start this video, but I got to use the bathroom. So I'll be back in a sec, but you guys can watch. I'll be listening.
Okay, so
while I pee.
I don't know. I feel like things always happen on a Friday. Big stories break on a Friday. And as I just mentioned with Chris, but in case you haven't seen it, there is some breaking news. This absolutely bonkers story that just posted tonight concerning, well, the clown car of people who make up Trump's cabinet. And I mean, this time it's really focused on FBI Director Kash Patel. And it's an explosive news story in The Atlantic that just posted. It cites dozens of FBI sources, which is a big deal. It's a lot of sources in this story detailing new allegations about Patel, including some sources who say Patel is frequently drunk on the job, regularly absent from work, and paranoid about getting fired. And there's quite an anecdote about that we're going to talk about. And I'm just going to read you a few of the key passages because I think that will tell you everything you need to know about this story. Here's one. Several officials told The Atlantic that Patel's drinking has been a recurring source of concern across the government. Early in his tenure, meetings and briefings had to be rescheduled for later in the day as a result of his alcohol-fueled nights. 6 current and former officials and others familiar with Patel's schedule told The Atlantic. As a sidebar, not normal. I've worked into administration.
Hey. Okay, people. Okay. You're out here complaining about Patel having a few drinks to relax. Do you know how hard it is to go from being just some podcaster to being the head of the FBI? Dude, I bet I would be drinking. I think I would be having a few drinks to de-stress, especially after I've botched like multiple investigations, like like unable to do my job. Like, yeah, I would be drinking the pain away. So I think we're putting a little bit too much slack. We're putting a little too much pressure on Cash Money. He's also like, I think like 5'8" and like 40 pounds. So like I feel like it only takes like one beer for him to get drunk. So, you know, like maybe he just didn't, like maybe someone just offered him a beer and that's what happened. So I don't know. I think that we could take it a little bit easy on our boy Cash Money over here.
Again, back to the quote. On multiple occasions in the past year, members of his security detail had difficulty waking Patel because he was seemingly intoxicated. This was Chris was just referencing. And that's according to information supplied to Justice Department and White House officials.
And also, do you realize how difficult it is to keep your Israeli honeypot girlfriend happy? I mean, she's like a like D-tier country singer. So, you know, she has a lot of needs. She has a lot of she wants to go out. She's like 20 years younger than you, and you gotta cater to that. And I don't know, man. I just think Psaki here, I think that's her, is going just a little bit too hard on our boy Cash Money. I feel like she's not doing her patriotic duty of supporting our wonderful men in uniform at the FBI. Men in woman-sized clothes uniform. That's a deep cut story, by the way. That was when he needed to borrow a female jacket, FBI jacket, for a press conference because they didn't have any that fit him. Okay, let's keep going.
And that's according to information supplied to Justice Department and White House officials. A request for breaching equipment, normally used by SWAT and hostage rescue teams to quickly gain entry into buildings, was made last year because Patel had been unreachable behind locked doors, according to multiple people familiar with the request. Multiple officials also tell The Atlantic that Patel is deeply concerned that his job is in jeopardy. Well, that's understandable. In one incident earlier this month, Patel struggled to log into an internal computer system. He quickly became convinced that he had been locked out, and he panicked, frantically calling aides and allies to announce that he had been fired by the White House, according to 9 people familiar with his outreach. 9 people. Now, the access problem turned out to, quote, have been a technical error, and it was quickly resolved, and that's according to 2 people.
Okay, so that really is not a good sign. I've had coworkers who kind of like behave like this. Like they're constantly scared of being fired, and like it's only been a couple of people that I've ever felt this way from. And they like I'm always like, dude, you can't be projecting this out into the world like this because you're going to make it happen. If everybody in the company who talks to you like sees how worried you are about getting fired, like if they ever downsize, you're probably going to be on the list. You need to just pretend like everything's okay. Like I know it can be hard sometimes for certain people, but like you got to just try and put on your like, you know, big boy face and like be like that. Nope, I'll be fine. I'll be fine. Like you fake it, like to some extent, like fake it till you make it, you know, like you need to build a little bit of confidence so that you're not like the first on the list of like, okay, who do we think we could let go or whatever, you know? But yeah,
the matter. Now, I should note MS Now has not independently verified any of this reporting. We've reached out to the FBI for comment, and if we get a response over the next hour, I will surely let you know as soon as we get a response. But I should note the FBI responded to The Atlantic with a graceful and eloquent statement attributed to Patel, and here's what he said. Print it, all false. I'll see you in court. Bring your checkbook. Graceful, eloquent. Okay. Joining me now is the reporter who broke that story, staff writer for The Atlantic, Sarah Fitzpatrick. First of all, Sarah, I'm so grateful you could be here because we saw this story and we reached out and we were like, can you...
We really have normalized just threatening reporters with lawsuits, haven't we? Like, it's just like the leader of the FBI, the head of the FBI is threatening to sue a news corporation for reporting on a story that they got from sources. Like, this is just basic ass reporting, like classic First Amendment stuff. And the leader of the FBI is like, I'm going to sue you for that. That's, oof. Yeah, things aren't looking good here in America.
Come talk to us about it, and here you are. I want to talk to you about all the details of this bombshell report. I just skimmed the story, the surface there, I should say. But first, I just want to give you an opportunity to respond to this reaction to your piece, because Patel's advisor, Erica Knight, called your piece fabricated stories. She said that every serious D.C. reporter passed on. Sarah Fitzpatrick and Jeffrey Goldberg printed it anyway. Lawsuit is being filed. What do you say to that?
I say that I am a very careful, very diligent, award-winning investigative reporter with a history of award-winning work across multiple organizations.
She worked at The Atlantic, the like heavily conservative, like, I don't know, the Atlantic, like, you cannot try to convince me that The Atlantic is some sort of like socialist, leftist, like anti-American newspaper or something. Like, The Atlantic is one of the most conservative newspapers that have ever existed. They're just like conservative in like the pre-MAGA way. Like, they're like old school Republicans, which are much more closely aligned with like liberals and liberalism. And so like I don't know, they will never be able to convince me that this person is some sort of like I don't know, just like trying to do a like an anti-Patel news story out of, like, I don't know, I trust The Atlantic to be at least pretty diligent in terms of their reporting, even if I disagree with most of their opinions.
You and I, in fact, have worked together previously. I stand by every word of this reporting. We have excellent attorneys, and it is a surprising statement, but a very telling statement, I believe. And I would also note, we reached out for comment to the White House and to the Justice Department, neither of which disputed anything. We gave multiple opportunities, including 19 detailed questions. So we stand by every word. And look, this is telling, because there are so many people. You alluded to it earlier. These are not the types of people who are willing to speak out outside of the FBI, especially right now, because Kash Patel is going after people with polygraphs in a way that has never happened at the Bureau. So for it to be this level of alarm, this is people genuinely concerned that America is a danger as a result of this conduct. And I feel, a real responsibility to take care of that report.
Yeah, and when they're not like lie detector testing every single like employee on a daily basis to make sure that they're not leaking to the media, like a definitely totally confident in their ability administration would do. They're targeting like 17-year-old autistic kids and claiming that they're Antifa or that they're like a part of the Muslim Brotherhood or whatever. Like, yeah, the FBI is in shambles right now. Like this. And they're also, like, I think losing cases at like a record rate compared to how they were before. The competence has just been thrown out the window in its entirety. So congratulations, Kash Patel. I honestly, I mean, I kind of knew this would happen when you put a podcaster in charge of the FBI. In the same way, I kind of understood like what's like our failures in our war against Iran would happen when you put a drunken rapist like Hegseth, like a former TV like personality like Hegseth, in charge of the military. Like, these are things that are easily predictable. But in the end, what matters the most towards fascism is not like to getting the goals, or for the goals of fascists, is not competency. Like, that's not what they're hiring for. They're hiring purely on loyalty. And Trump is a weird mix of loyalty and TV. Like, they look good on TV. Those are the reasons that he's hiring people. And so, yeah, you're going to get a lot of stupid people and unqualified people in when that happens. I just wanted to remind people of this photo too. Totally doesn't have a drinking problem. This was in the middle of some, like, I think investigation or something that was going on too, where he went to the hockey game and all the hockey teams like gave him a beer so that he, like I said, he's a small dude, so like one beer is probably enough to take him out. So but anyway, let's continue.
Reporting incredibly carefully, and The Atlantic is nothing but diligent, and we have amazing lawyers and amazing editors, and I stand by every word.
I'm not surprised in any way by their response. I will say, and you, as you said, you note, and I noted 9 sources for the opening anecdote of the story as well. Let's get into some of the details about this, because Patel's excessive drinking seems to be what is alarming a lot of the sources in here. There are multiple anecdotes that refer to that. That's understandable. They're moving meetings. People couldn't wake him. What more have you heard about the extent of his drinking habits and how it seems to be affecting his ability to serve as FBI director?
I think the key point is that this is happening in places in which it is public. There are lots and lots of people around who are seeing it, who are hearing about it, who are learning about it. For example, we have video of Patel chugging a beer to excess on video. Like,
we've all seen it. Everybody's seen it.
That's what I showed you.
And I think it speaks
this one right
to,
here.
You know, he was on official travel at that time. There were ongoing threats in the United States at that
That's
time.
right. Yeah, so, that's what was going on.
It is a very, very clear pattern that has occurred in multiple locations over a long period of time.
Oh, they're showing it too.
That pattern,
it's the best
which
video,
is giving everyone pause.
It's the best video. I love watching this little manlet surrounded by like 6'2" corn-fed American hockey players with like busted teeth and like are generally like in good shape and stuff. And then you got this like 5'8" manlet trying to chug a beer to impress them or whatever. It's, I don't know, it's the best.
Multiple locations over a long period of time, and it's that pattern which is giving everyone pause. These are not one-off events.
One of this, I just read this story, but we have to come back to it because the excerpt I just read, just to remind people, a request for breaching equipment normally used by SWAT and hostage rescue teams to quickly gain entry into buildings was made last year because Patel had been unreachable behind locked doors, according to multiple people familiar with this request. I find that, I mean, I've traveled with 2 presidents. I've worked in the government. I've worked in the State Department. Shocking. Really, people should feel shocked by that. This is not a 22-year-old who's irresponsible, who's on a trip and should be behaving better. This is the FBI director. Can you tell us more just about that scene or paint it for people who have not yet read your story?
I think the really most important thing here is that most national security officials at this caliber, or even several layers below, those types of people sleep with their phones on their chest. They are so concerned because they need to be reachable immediately, because there are life or death decisions that have to be made quickly. There may be threats in which they need to be moved quickly. And so this timing aspect, the ability to reach that person quickly and make sure that they are responsive, I think this is a request that was not made lightly. And I think that's the fact that it was made and that it was well known, I think because of that level of concern, really tells you about, the kind of larger picture here. And look, you have the FBI is, you and I both know so many people that have given their lives to this organization. This is a place protecting.
Are still giving their lives, to be clear. Still in there.
Yes, and the threats have never been higher. The risks have never been higher.
Oh my God. This is, okay, sorry, I gotta go back a little bit. This is going to be some classic Atlantic shit because for those unaware, I'm not a big fan of the FBI. I think they're largely used as a tool to like tamp down like internal resistance and internal like movements, like generally. So I guess I always think back to like the civil rights movement, right? And how big of a part the FBI played in the assassination of like MLK and Malcolm X and stuff. And that sort of stuff has not stopped. Like they are still in the process of like infiltrating any sort of group that is in any way opposed to the American State Department. That includes like pro-Palestine protesters, any Antifa or whoever the fuck they like, you know, Antifa isn't like a real thing, but whoever they want to label as Antifa, but who are going to engage in like civil disobedience and stuff. Like they are a terrible organization. Like I do not like the FBI. But this is where I want to show you like the Atlantics. Like they basically, a lot of these types of people, both liberal and conservative, like writers, I would consider the Atlantic a conservative publication though. They all want to essentially restore restore these institutions to a trustworthy place again. It's the same with like ICE, right? Like most liberals and conservatives, they don't like how Trump is turning ICE into a Gestapo force. They want to restore it back to some sort of like, you know, how people like no longer think of it as like the brown shirts. I don't know how possible that is at this point, but like, and so this is where she's like, I'm making this argument. She's saying I'm making this argument for the FBI's own sake. So that's where I completely disagree with her. However, I also sometimes think about how like Trump and all of these people are essentially doing way more damage to any of these institutions than any like Antifa person or any leftist socialist or what, like anybody who is trying to like, I don't know, say destroy the empire's ability to wage death and destruction around the world. Like nobody is better suited to destroying the American empire than Trump and all the goons that he has put in his cabinet. And that's what these people get really upset about. So let's listen to her say that again. And then after that, I'm probably gonna move on to another video.
Your picture here. And look, you have the FBI is, you and I both know so many people that have given their lives to this organization. This is a place protecting.
Are still giving their lives, to be clear. Still in there.
Yes, and the threats have never been higher. The risks have never been higher. And so you have a group of people that have totally, like, the biggest fear would be that something could happen to this person. And I think they take that responsibility incredibly seriously. But that goes beyond the entire organization. You have an organization that is dependent on this person being available, being cogent, and being able to quickly respond to multiple things all at the same time.
The opening anecdote of the story was incredibly striking for a number of reasons. I mean, because you described this freak out in which Patel was intoxicated. He thinks he was locked out of an FBI.
No, to be clear, he wasn't.
He was not in that case. Thank you for
correcting.
It just broke some. I'm trying to remember all the details of it. Thank you for correcting me there. But he thought he was locked out of an FBI computer system. He grew incredibly paranoid. Thought he was going to be fired. It turned out to be a technical issue. Talk about that level of paranoia. What that tells you. Why it was.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and move on. I think. I'm gonna pull it up. I'm gonna look for a new video. If I can't find anything, I have a backup one that I was planning. But I'm gonna pull it up here so you guys can look as well. If anybody has any opinions on a topic or something that they want me to cover. But I'm just gonna see if I can find anything new, like recent to cover. Let's see. Oh, there's that one. The New Jersey special election. Maybe I could watch that. What else we got? You know what? I'll just watch that one. Why not? I had heard about this.
As the Trump administration now.
I'm not super familiar with this election. This is from 2 days ago. But we got Steve Kornacki coming in to give us some stats, I guess, for the changing views on Israel and what kind of a difference it could make on the New Jersey special election. So let's go ahead and watch this video and see what's going on here.
As the Trump administration navigates its relationship with Israel as an ally and partner in the Iran war, on Capitol Hill, Democratic divisions over Israel are once again on display. with more than 3/4 of the Senate Democratic caucus voting in favor of blocking arms sales to Israel. It was mostly a symbolic vote, but it shows just how much the party's sentiments on Israel have shifted. A recent NBC News poll showed a 22-point increase in negative views toward Israel.
Yeah, if you ever want to get elected to higher office, like a president or anything, you better not have any stains on your record, like voting to send arms to Israel. You're never going to make it in a Democratic primary at this point with those votes on your record.
Among Democrats in just the last 3 years. Joining me now from Capitol Hill is NBC's Melanie Zanona. Mel, thanks for being here. So how much is the Iran war influencing this shift in Democrats willing to vote for this resolution?
Well, we first started to see this shift inside the Democratic Party really after the October 7th war in Hamas, and particularly Democrats were critical over Israel's treatment of Gaza. But no doubt this war in Iran has really intensified that shift inside the Democratic Party. Senator Bernie Sanders, he's actually introduced.
And I watched a video the other day also inside of the Republican Party as well, at least in the voters, not necessarily in the congressional or like in Congress. However, even the Democrats in Congress are not in line with their constituents either on this matter, because this is a 90-10 issue when it comes to the Democratic constituents. So it should be a 90-10, I guess, in Congress as well, when it seems like it's more like, even on their current votes, like they said 2/3 or whatever, like 6 or 3/4, sorry. So like 75-25. So even that vote is not in line with the Democratic voter base. And not only that, the people who are even voting against blocking the bombs don't want it to like pass. Like a significant portion of them are just voting for it because they know it's not going to pass. I guarantee you, if there was any possibility of it actually passing, there would be just enough Democrats to vote to keep it from passing. 100%, no doubt in my mind. There will always be enough votes, I think, until we like fundamentally restructure the Democratic Party. There will always be enough votes to continue sending arms to Israel. So you know, there you go. There's that.
Used 6 versions of this resolution ever since November 2024. That first resolution he introduced, at that time, 18 Democrats voted yes. Now, flash forward to today, you had 40 Democrats who voted yes on one of those resolutions today. And notably, Kristen, that includes many 2028 presidential candidates like Mark Kelly of Arizona. Yeah, I want you to take a listen to him explaining why he changed his position.
Yeah, and trust me. And also, if they change their position, they don't actually care. They don't. They do not care. Like, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe some of them actually have changed their position when it comes to like Israel committing genocide. But Israel was committing genocide far before October 7th. Everybody with eyes who cared at all, like, knew this to be the case. So, if these people are changing now, it's likely cynical, in my opinion. The only people that you can trust are people who have a long history and background of advocating for the Palestinian cause. I'm not saying that people can't change. I'm just saying you need to be highly skeptical when they change on a dime like this. If they don't have a history of activism in this regard, you have to be very, very careful.
What caused you to shift your vote? You have been voting against those resolutions.
Well, we're at a different place. I'm always going to stand with Israel and its right to defend itself. They are
fuck you. Go die.
Partner in the region. They're one of our strongest allies.
No, they're not. They're not a God, Jesus Christ. They're not a democracy. And they're not even, like, most people would say they're not even an ally at this point. Now, I think differently because I don't think they're an ally. I think they're an extension of America. I think they're just America, but over there. Like, but yeah, most people don't even think that they're an ally at this point, considering how many wars that they are getting the U.S. involved in, seemingly without the desire from America to get involved in them. Yeah, that's
going to continue, and I'm always going to be backing Israel.
Boo,
in this
fuck
case,
you.
On these two specific things at this moment, I decided that to cast my vote, in a way that I think is the right thing to do at this time.
Okay. Also, if they do not put front and center the humanity of the Palestinian people, then that's another sign that they do not give a shit, that they will not actually ever allow material impact to Israel. These people, they do want Israel to exist as it currently does, as a destabilizing force in the region, in order to allow for our American pedo elites to go over and like take as much resources and oil as they possibly can. They do want that. If they are not centering the Palestinian people and their plight for dignity and sovereignty at the center of this conversation, then they definitely do not care. And also, if they haven't had a long history, yeah, I'm always going to be highly skeptical of this stuff.
And Kelly is certain.
And I assure you that he would have voted no if there was even a chance of this actually passing. So there you go.
Is the right thing to do at this time.
And Kelly is certainly from more of the centrist, moderate wing of the party. So just a remarkable example of this sea change inside the Democratic Party.
It truly is, Mel. And of course, Democratic divisions over Israel have been brewing long before the Iran war began. How big of an issue do you think it will be in the primaries? It certainly did factor in 2024.
Oh, we're already seeing it play out in a number of primaries all across the country. There were several candidates who decided to jump into races to challenge current Democrats over their position and support for Israel. And one race we're watching very, very closely is the Michigan Senate race. This is a key battleground. You have three different candidates. You have Haley Stevens, who's backed by AIPAC, a pro-Israel group. You have Abdul El-Sayed, who's actually a huge champion of Palestine. And then you have Mallory McMorrow, who's positioning herself somewhere in the middle, but certainly.
She sent a policy paper to AIPAC. She will 100% align with AIPAC and Israel if she is elected into office, just so people are aware.
The issue of both Israel and Palestine has become a central theme in that critical primary.
All right, well, it's one of the races we're watching quite closely. Val, thank you so much for being here. And if it's Thursday,
keep watching closely. The more eyes you get on it, the more Abdul will start to like get in the lead or like take more of a lead. So yeah, Abdul's main problem is that he doesn't quite have the name recognition, but he's starting to with all of these hit pieces that have come out on him. So we need to get more hit pieces out there and more people complaining about how anti-Israel he is on the timeline. The more people do that, then the better positioned he'll be to win the primary.
Today, voters are voting somewhere. Today, that's New Jersey's 11th congressional district, where Democrat Analilia Mejia is facing Republican Joe Hathaway in the special election to fill now Governor Mikey Sherrill's seat. And joining me now at the big board is NBC News chief data analyst Steve Kornacki. Steve, great to see you. I know you're gearing up for a big night.
I had almost completely forgot that this is what the actual video was about. The New Jersey special elections. That was what I actually wanted to talk about. So, okay, here we go. Let's go ahead and watch this.
What are you going to be watching for?
Yeah, Christian, interesting. Coming off that conversation you were just having there about the change in the Democratic Party when it comes to Israel, one of the candidates who embodies that is in this special election that's being held tonight in the 11th.
That one, okay, so sorry, I kind of wanted one that was, I thought that this would have the actual results. So Mejia, I think, is the one who was the anti-Israel candidate, and she won by like a landslide, I think.
Congressional District of New Jersey. This is to replace Mikey Sherrill. Of course, she was in Congress. She was elected governor. This was her seat. This is the special election.
Okay, let's actually go to this video because this is like, let me see. Tonight,
Democrats are trying to.
Okay, this one is her actual victory, I guess. Or her. This looks like election night coverage. I'm just trying to get what her victory margins were, so I'm going to watch this one instead.
Build some momentum, gaining another seat in the House. NBC News is projecting that progressive Democrat Analilia Mejia wins the New Jersey special election over Republican Joe Hathaway to fill Governor Mickey Sherrill's seat. This is a big deal given Republicans' slim majority in the House right now, and those votes are now coming in. Let's get straight over to Steve Kornacki over at the big board to walk us through the results. Great to see you, Steve. What's it looking like?
Yeah, Gotti, look, it's a win, and it's probably a pretty big margin.
Okay, come on. There has to be one. Let me just Google Mejia victory. Analysis. Maybe this one.
Just minutes after polls closed in New Jersey's 11th congressional district tonight, progressive Democrat Ana Lilia Mejia defeated Republican Joe Hathaway to fill the seat vacated by now Governor.
By the way, this is what happens. These are the margins you get when you run a left populist. If people are curious, like a corporate centrist Dem may have been able to eke out like a 55-45 win. When you run a left populist, like Mejia here, you get, 70-30 wins. Okay. So, just something for people to keep in mind. And that's not just in like blue cities or blue towns. That's all across the country. And like your margins will be better whether you're in, like southern, like Missouri, or you're in, the California. Like you're going to get better margins of victory or less bad losses, I guess, in some places if you run a left populist as opposed to running some corporate stooge, because everybody hates corporate stooges, including Republicans.
Governor Mikey Sherrill. It's the latest progressive victory of this election cycle. Could be a bellwether for November. And joining me now from her campaign watch party is Democratic candidate Ana Lilia Mejia. Congresswoman-elect, congratulations. The AP has made the call. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great. I'm so thrilled to have the opportunity to represent the great people of New Jersey's 11th congressional district. It was kind of a rough and tumble, a special primary. It was a very quick turnaround to our special general, but I think the voters in New Jersey's 11th are feeling like many voters across the country, fed up with an economy that is letting them down and watching a Democratic backslide that is really worrisome.
Did you had a very close primary. Tom Malinowski, who I believe had represented that district or an adjacent district before, was in that primary. You eked out a victory.
An adjacent district, yes.
Adjacent district.
The main thing I would say, I was hoping that they would get more into the numbers and stuff. And I'm kind of ADHD bouncing around at this point. But the main thing that I think happened that a lot of people are focusing in on is like the Jewish vote, right? The Jewish vote went much more towards the Republican than it previously had. Like there was a swing towards the Republicans. I want to be clear though, those Jewish people are they are aligning themselves with MAGA, and it is probably because of Israel. That is probably because they don't like that the Democrats are turning on Israel. I got news for them, though. The Republicans will also soon turn on Israel. It's impossible to maintain support for a openly genocidal state indefinitely. So they will also turn on Israel as well. However, they are, aligning with the MAGA cause at this point because they care more about Israel than any semblance of like progressivism and all that sort of stuff. However, obviously not all Jews are a monolith, and many Jews voted for Mejia as well. But as we were kind of saying before, so the people on Twitter were saying, oh, Mejia, if she would have not been anti-Israel, she would have kept she would have gotten an even bigger victory. She would have won by another 5% or whatever if she would have. Yeah. But that's not true, though. If she had not been anti-Israel, being anti-Israel is what brought all of those progressives that voted for her out to the polls. She would have lost maybe 20% of her vote. Of her margin if she had not been anti-Israel, because that many people would have just sat at home. They wouldn't have been motivated, and they would have, if she had been pro-Israel, she might have lost. So I think that's a silly analysis to take if you're looking at the demographics, to think that I think that someone said for every like right-wing Jewish person that you lose by being anti-Israel, you gain like 2 progressives in the city or something. Like someone was saying something along those lines. So it just goes to show that you do not in any way need to be pro-Israel at this point in time if you are a Democrat running a campaign anywhere in the country too, not just in blue places. But okay, let's see. I'm at 2 hours. You know what? I'm going to let it go a little bit long today. I saw this one popped up right now.
Made sweeping
I saw this one pop up right now. This is an interview. When was this interview taken? This was just posted a few hours ago. So I'm hoping this is something new and not something I've already seen. But we'll go ahead and watch it and see. Oh, this might be clips potentially. Well, let's go ahead and watch this. This is a video with Zohran Mamdani, everybody's favorite mayor, America's mayor. Get fucked, Rudy Giuliani. Everybody's over the old ass decrepit ghoul himself, Rudy Giuliani, and they're ready for the new everybody or America's mayor, which is Zohran Mamdani, the woke Sharia leader himself. So let's go ahead and see what's going on in this clip. I guess they're going to talk about democratic socialism, which as a member of DSA, I have an interest in.
Promises on the campaign trail. I'll name a few: freezing the rent, free and fast buses, universal child care. Here we are 100 days in to your tenure as mayor. Are you still confident you can deliver on all of your promises that you made to New Yorkers?
Yes. I am, and I'm confident of that because of what we've seen over this 100 days. On day 8, we announced a $1.2 billion agreement with Governor Kathy Hochul to put our city on the pathway to universal child care. We are not only providing free child care for every...
That's one of the bigger ones, too. That's one of his bigger promises. So, yeah, that's rad that he already got essentially the funding for that. And it's because Kathy Hochul had talked about, like, she had been, I think, for that even before Zohran. And so they're just making it happen at a record pace, to be honest, considering how slow and incapable most of our people in government are. It's amazing to see. This is what we need too, as DSA members. We need people like Zohran to go out there and show what government is truly capable of if they are working for the people and not for corporate interests. So I am all for that stuff, man.
Every 3-year-old in the city, we're now doing it for 2-year-olds as well. And by the end of our first term, we will see every single 2-year-old receiving free childcare across the 5 boroughs of New York City.
You're also facing a $5.4 billion budget shortfall. You are required by
Thanks, Eric Adams.
law to balance the budget. Are you confident you can accomplish all of the promises that you made in your first term, in one term?
So I've always said that we would accomplish all of these promises by the time that I'm done being the mayor, and I'm fully confident of doing exactly that. And as you said, we inherited the largest fiscal crisis that this city has seen since the Great Recession. Frankly, this dwarfs even that. When we first came into office, we were looking at $12 billion. And thanks to the work that we did, the savings, the allocations of our reserves, the commitment from the governor, we were able to bring that down to $5.4 billion. Now what we're seeing is the importance of not just finalizing the city budget process, but the state budget process. Mm-hmm. And we're actually just a day from the moment when the governor announced that we will be pursuing a pied-à-terre tax, which will be a tax on the properties of the wealthiest of the wealthy. And we're so excited to be working with our...
Yeah, so this is kind of a compromise. I think it, like, they should just introduce like the taxes that Mamdani had stated at the beginning in terms of raising the I can't remember which taxes, but raising it to be the same as New Jersey's. That would be a better, like, you know, a more like just easier way of getting this money. But I think that this whole tax on secondary homes thing is a good idea just in general. I would say as well. Like, you should have both of them because, number one, I hate the commodification of our housing market. I hate, you know, trillion-dollar corporations going out there and buying up homes as assets to just hold and keep empty until they can flip it at some point in the future. I hate that. I hate that so much. Obviously, the billionaire, like, who has multiple homes all across the country, yeah, I despise that as well. Like, they should be incentivized not to do that. Like, and if they still want to have their penthouse suite in New York, They can just pay the extra tax. Like if they really want it that bad, they can pay the extra tax. If not, maybe they could consider turning it into a bunch of apartments and renting it out, or turning it into a bunch of condos and selling it to increase the supply. There's lots of things that they could do if they really hate this tax. They could just, I don't know, sell it to somebody who wants to actually live there. All of these ways are things like, these are all just ways of disciplining capital that we have forgotten as a country how to do. Like we used to do this back before, you know, the end of like the Cold War and neoliberalism's meteoric rise into monoculture. Like we used to actually have ways of disciplining capital, and you know, but we have lost our way, man. We have lost our way. Neoliberalism as the dominant monoculture from Ronald Reagan onward, it has like completely destroyed Americans' appetite for disciplining capital, which is necessary. It's necessary to running a functioning society, to have the ability to rein in the worst excesses of capitalism.
On exactly that, because it will raise $500 million for New York City, and it will do so on an annual basis.
And we are going to get to taxes momentarily, but do you think you can accomplish all of your promises to New Yorkers, or do you think you would need a second term in order to promise and achieve the sweeping promises you make?
I'm going to just knock on wood over here for the second term. But look, I've said time and again that when I was running for mayor, New Yorkers would come up to me. They would say one of three things typically. They were talking about freezing the rent, making buses fast and free, delivering universal childcare. In this first 100 days, we had 6 vacancies on the Rent Guidelines Board that determines whether or not that decision will be made. We filled all 6 of them. They're an independent board. They'll make their decision this summer. When it comes to universal childcare, we talked about the $1.2 billion. When it comes to making our buses fast and free, we're already delivering on the fast. We are speeding up buses for more than 1 million New Yorkers, putting back up to 6 minutes back into their lives each trip. And we're doing this because we currently have the slowest buses in the United States.
So he's already made a lot of headway. I'm very impressed at the speed at which he's like been able to accomplish some of his major gains, even as like someone who kind of like, I trusted him to actually want to get these things done based on his history as a DSA member and stuff. I was like, I trusted him to not just go in there and immediately flip-flop to being a corporate stooge. He has made some compromises that I'm a little bit frustrated with on certain issues, but in general, he is governing like the way that, yeah, he's providing an excellent example for the rest of the country of the DSA and like what electing DSA members can mean for you and your city or your town, anywhere in the country. It's incredible. It's great. We can all just point to Zoran for people who say, oh, Democratic socialism won't work or whatever. Like it's like, well, look at this guy. Look at how he governs. Do you want a Zoran Mamdani in office in your in your county or whatever, or do you want a Chuck Schumer? Like just like that's an easy comparison to give people as to like in terms of like getting things done and actually legislating in a positive manner and giving a positive vision of the future
of America. And we're working with Albany to make those buses free, and we're confident by the time that we are done with our administration, we will have delivered on these 3 central promises.
Let's talk about how you're going to pay for all of this. You've worked with Governor Kathy Hochul to get some of the starting blocks in place for universal child care, for example, which you referenced. When can New Yorkers expect to see full universal child care? What's the timeline for that?
They will see full universal child care for 2-year-olds by the end of the first term, and then in the second term, we would pursue fulfilling that for 1-year-olds and those from 6 weeks and above. We've always said over the course of the campaign we would deliver it for New Yorkers from the ages of 6 weeks to 5 years. What we started in this first 100 days was fixing the system for 3-year-olds. We've delivered on that. We're rolling that out right now, and then starting to deliver it for the first time in history for 2-year-olds. And I just want to go back to, sometimes this feels like, you know, just checking off a box on a list that did we do something that we talked about. The importance of doing this is also because of what it means for New Yorkers. We're talking about $20,000 a year that a family won't have to shell out for childcare any longer because they know they can afford to raise their kid in the city they love.
And you still don't, you have agreement with Governor Hochul on that. You don't have an agreement with Governor Hochul on raising taxes on the wealthy yet. Will you be able to deliver on your promise of taxing the wealthy to help pay for your
It's crazy, dude. It's something that everybody wants. Like, if you poll that, like, should we increase taxes on billionaires? If you poll that, like, everybody says yes. And yet, for some reason, our government, well, I guess for some reason, our government never actually does it. It's insane. I've said before that, like, it would be better to tax them and just incinerate that money. Just light it on fire so that they don't have it. Just so that they don't have the money and so that they don't have the political power that we've allowed them to accumulate. So they can't control our politics in such a perverse and negative manner that they do today. I would rather them tax the shit out of them and light that shit on fire than let them have it. However, there's a better option: tax them and provide goods and services to the people of your county or your city or your state or your country. Like that would be a even better way to use it, in my opinion. But yeah, like, I don't know, the framing, they always like frame it as like, how are you going to be able to accomplish this thing that everybody wants, every single person wants? How are you going to be able to accomplish it? And it's because that they know that it is actually hard to accomplish because of the amount of money and power that we've allowed them to accumulate already. Like I said, if we just burned all that money, if we took it from them and burned it, they wouldn't have that same corrupting power and influence that would make these questions like actually like make sense. Like this question should be completely like, it should be nonsense. It should be a nonsense question. How am I going to do it? Everybody wants me to do it. Of course, like, what do you mean? How am I not going to do it? The people are behind me. The will is there. Why, how am I not going to be able to do this? That should be like the real answer, but that's not the society we live in.
Programs. Absolutely. And I'm actually happy to tell you that that pied-à-terre tax, that is an agreement that we have to tax the wealthy. Because again, when we're talking about a pied-à-terre, this is a home that is owned here in New York City by someone who doesn't live in New York City. And we're talking about the valuation of which is the super rich, not just of this country, but across the world. I was just yesterday standing in front of 220 Central Park West, and there at the penthouse was a home that Ken Griffin had bought for $238 million. This is the kind of real estate activity that's happening in the city, homes that are largely empty for much of the year, but it all occurs while New Yorkers are hurting in this same city. We're starting to actually bridge that gap, and I'm so excited to be working with the governor on it.
When you talk to New Yorkers, they say they feel like they're already overtaxed. What do you say to middle-class New Yorkers who are worried some of these taxes could wind up impacting them?
I tell them, unless they make more than $1 million a year or own some of the most profitable corporations in our city or have a second home that's worth more than $5 million, then these are not taxes that apply to them. And what I've sought to make this city the most expensive in the United States of America is one that's affordable for the people who have been priced out of it. And that's why I have fought for a vision that looks to ask those with the most to pay that little bit more so that everyone can live here.
All right, let's talk about President Trump. When we last spoke after your first Oval Office meeting, one that surprised a lot of people in how cordial it was. How would you describe your relationship with President Trump right now?
I would say that it's honest, it's direct, and it's productive.
And are you still in regular contact with him? How often do you speak to the president?
I'll keep the cadence of that between the two of us. Much of that is based on the premise of privacy. But what I will say is that those conversations, no matter how they happen, they return back to one thing, one of the few things that we have in common, which is our love for New York City and how to deliver for this same city. He said it.
Yeah, this is great. This is great. This is what you got to do, man. Play the game. I don't need you to, like, if there are things that you can get out of Trump as concessions, go for it. Like, yes, he is a fascist. Yes, he is an authoritarian. Yes, he should be behind bars. Like, he should be prosecuted for all of his crimes and bribes and all that stuff. Sure, you can hold that opinion, but also, like, you know, take advantage of his narcissism and take advantage of his, you know, like, non-alignment to the actual, like, political cause of white supremacy. Like he's just a, like the way that I see Trump is he's just a very narcissistic person who only cares about what he gets. He is not like going to sacrifice in any way for the cause of white supremacy like Stephen Miller wants him to. So like you can take advantage of that narcissism all day, every day, and get a lot of good things for the working class of your country and or your city or state or whatever. And you should be doing it. You have an obligation to your voters to be doing that.
After the first meeting that we had in the Oval Office, he told the press that were there that the better this city does, the happier he feels. That's exactly how I feel about the city as well.
You know, many Democratic mayors, governors, members of Congress have struggled to figure out how to navigate their relationship with President Trump. What do you think you have gotten right about that? What do you think that you're doing that's been effective so far?
I'll tell you.
I think, to be honest,
I'll tell you what he got right. He, by being the most charismatic person in every room that he goes into, that's what he got right, man. Trump is like a baboon. Like he just sees someone who has popularity and like general, like, yeah, just genuine popularity and like adoration from his fans. Like he sees someone like Mamdani and he is just like, oh, that person's popular, I need to be around that person. And he like turns into like a puddle of mush whenever he walks in and smiles at him. Like that is what he has that other Democrats don't have. He is genuinely uniquely talented and charismatic for a politician. Mamdani is. A lot of people, there are a lot of Democrats who are coming up the ranks right now who have the same exact policy positions and for that reason are doing pretty well, but they don't necessarily have the charisma and an ability to just like get what you want from almost anybody you talk to. Like even people who are diametrically opposed to you, like getting them to like, you know, like get on their hands and knees and grovel to you, basically. Like it's crazy. He is a unique force that I don't know if I've ever seen, honestly. He is, I would assume, similar to like I don't know, maybe I don't know that much about FDR's rise, but like in terms of like the way that he can like command attention and get everybody on board for his ideas and stuff. So I don't know, it's just like an analogy in my head, probably more based on his policy positions than anything, but yeah, that's kind of why.
With you, I am lucky in that I have something that no one else does, which is that I'm from New York City. And New York City holds a very special place for him, as well as for me. We're both from this same city. And it means that our conversations are not just of the scale that is typical with the president, but also granular about even the things as specific as zoning law changes in Midtown Manhattan. And that, I think, speaks to the fact that Donald Trump is not just the president of this country, he's also someone who's been a New Yorker for his entire life. And there's an investment in this city doing well.
Because you've now had a number of conversations with President Trump, do you trust President Trump?
I would say that those conversations are ones where we know they have to continue, and there have been times where I have raised things to the president. For example, in that last meeting, it was a meeting that we mostly spoke about this housing development. But over the course of the meeting, I did mention that just that morning that ICE had detained a Columbia University student. I mentioned to him that this was part of a larger trend that we had seen of 5 individuals being detained in or around Columbia University. I gave him a list of those 5. 30 minutes after the meeting, he called me and said he had now made the decision to release her. And so I think we see in those decisions the worth of a relationship that is both honest and direct and looking to be productive. And that honesty means acknowledging places of disagreement. When I was telling him that, I also told him, as I've said time and again, that I believe these ICE raids to be cruel, to be inhumane, and to do nothing to serve in the stated interest that it has, which is that of public safety.
Let's talk about the Democratic Party and the future of the Democratic Party. Former Vice President Kamala Harris said just last week she is thinking about running for president again. Would you like to see former Vice President Kamala Harris run for president again?
I have to be honest, I haven't thought about the candidacies for president this time. My focus is 2026.
You're the only Democrat who hasn't thought.
I'm going to go ahead and move on, I think. Yeah, go Mamdani. Keep it up. Don't stop. Keep filling all them potholes and, you know, showing people what it means to elect a Democratic Socialist. I mean, it's great for, you know, it's great for my organization, the DSA. So I'm all for it. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and just move on to x.com. I was trying to find an article while I was letting that play, and I couldn't find anything that interested me that much. So we're gonna go over to X. We're gonna see what we can find. Whoops, that's not the right thing. There we go. Okay, we're gonna see what we can find over on x.com. Hopefully we'll find some good stuff, and then I will get out of here. So what do we got? Your favorite guy, humbled. I would be humbled too, standing with Greta Thunberg. She's rad as hell. Let's see what else we got. What is this? This is the Strokes. I probably can't listen to that, unfortunately, but CIA. They're showing all of the CIA assassinations and plots, I think, in this the Strokes. So I'm not perfectly familiar with every single CIA assassination and plot. I know a decent amount of them, but I don't know all of them. So but yeah, this yeah. That was awesome. That was awesome. Keep it up, man. And more I'm glad that the mainstream mainstream musicians like the Strokes and various others are finally starting to be open on stage about the Gaza genocide and like trying to stop Israel. It's incredible and it's amazing, and we need to keep pushing. I wish they would have done it at the beginning. I really did. And by the beginning, I'm talking like post October 7th, not the beginning. Like I mean, obviously that would have been great too, like 75 years ago or whatever, but I'm talking more recent history. The only groups that I've seen that were being very like pro-Palestine openly from the very beginning were smaller groups. And when I went to go see smaller groups, I would hear that. I was really disappointed. I went to go see Blink-182 a year back. I was really disappointed that they didn't say anything. I mean, Blink-182, they might be my favorite band of all time, potentially. But they used to be a lot more like, I mean, you could argue not even really punk, but like ideologically, or like, I think that they used to like really not give a fuck back in the day, a lot more. They were never necessarily political, I'd say, but I think that they were just a lot more like, saying whatever the fuck they wanted back in the day. I do think that they have a lot of corporate capture at this point. So, it was a little disappointing not to see Blink have any sort of like pro-Palestine messaging. But, I'm sure the big wigs of whatever massive label they're under probably wouldn't have liked that. New Instagram removes camera wire with no appeal. Camera Wire, a left-wing alternative media outlet that maintains reporters and sources in Palestine, Lebanon, China, and Cuba, said Instagram removed its page of nearly 150,000 followers with no mechanism to contest the takedown. The outlet said tens of millions of monthly viewers have been cut off and described the removal as part of an escalating pattern of information warfare by big tech monopolies deeply intertwined with the ruling elite, and a broader rise of censorship of alternative media directed from Washington and Brussels. The takedown comes amid documented widening of social media censorship tied to coverage of Gaza and the Iran war. Comer Wire is directing followers to his Telegram channel at Comer Wire. We're going to see a lot more of this, people. The Ellisons are going to buy everything, every news organization, every social media organization, and they are going to remake all of them into Israel first platforms. And if you ever dare, if you Americans out there ever even dare to criticize the great state of Israel even one time, you are going to get banned. It's no longer 3 strikes, you're out. It is 1 strike, you're out. When it comes to Israel, it's 1 strike, people. And you're not allowed to get mad about it. You're not allowed to complain about it. You're not allowed to contact your politicians about it. You have to sit there and take it. Okay, people, that is how it's going to go. And I hope you are ready. I hope you are ready to be cucked and fucked by Israel, every single one of you. I know I am. Come on, I'm Israel high. Give me that Israel dick, dude. I'm just kidding. I mean, I'm not kidding. That is what's going to happen. Like, but I'm just kidding about you're not allowed to get mad about it. You should get mad about it, and you should make your anger heard. Go yell at people. Go yell at anyone. Go yell at your mom. I don't know. Just go yell at people and try and stop this shit from happening. Or get ready for a violent revolution that you are going to join and overthrow the government. That's the other option. I mean, you know, there's nonviolent and violent ways of getting, you know, the change that we deserve as people. And we will always exhaust all the nonviolent ways. But something tells me that the ruling elites and the pedo billionaires are not going to be super happy with people wanting, you know, the free speech and all that shit when it comes to talking about Israel. So there might not be very many, you know, I think that after we exhaust the nonviolent ways, I don't know if that's gonna change anything from their perspective, but who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. Who knows? What do I know? I'm just some dumb YouTuber. What's this? Oh, I think I already saw this actually. Dude, Kyle Kalinske, man, he is the meme lord. He is a meme. He's a memey weenie, man. He just loves the memes. You know, good for him. That's probably how he got so popular. That's 29,000 likes. That's more likes than I get. What do we got? LA got a new welcome sign. Oh, I probably can't listen to that. Kill the Epstein class. I assume it's going to say class. Like I said before, you exhaust the nonviolent options, but it is likely going to turn to that eventually. You know, as someone who has read a lot about like the French Revolution and stuff, there are certain things that are inevitable when the working class is not provided for. So I'm just saying, it's inevitable. I don't make the rules, okay? I'm not the one who created humans and the human condition. That was God. If you have a problem with it, take it up with God. Not me. I don't know. I'm the Pope of the seculars. I'm not the Pope of the religious. That's the Pope. Okay, I'm having too much fun today, man. I'm going wild. Going hog wild. Brad Lander, what's this? God bless H&D Productions. It's all Hannah. She deserves all the praise. I went last week without her. She's my hero. I don't I know this guy. He's the music dude. He's the woke music dude. I forgot his name. Santino something? Santano? Something like that. And I think, is that Caroline Kwan? I can't really tell, the things in the way. So I don't know what this is.
I'm finally got a team. Yes, but even before Hassan got David and Hannah, who are, I need you all to know how incredible they are. They will never get enough credit. They will never get enough credit, especially Hannah. Everything Hannah does is so much more than you could ever imagine. God bless them.
I'm going to be honest. I don't know who Hannah and David are. Maybe they're like editors or something. Or like production. I guess it's H&D Productions. Yeah, I guess they're a production company. I don't know. Oh, hell yeah. I love it. I love it. I don't know if this is AI or if this is real, but this is rad. Sick, dude. That's how I'm gonna light every cigarette I do it from now on. I'm gonna start, like, if I ever smoke a cigarette, I'm going to like unroll it. I'm gonna take a little mini Israel flag. I'm gonna put all of the contents back inside of the little Israel flag paper, and then I'm gonna roll it back up, and then I'm gonna smoke it that way. And everybody's gonna be like, why do you put like 5 minutes into preparing your cigarettes this way, and I'm just be like, fuck Israel o'clock, man. I got to. I can't help it. That's what I'm gonna say. And I'm gonna be just like this kid, this youngster. He might be a little too young to be smoking, but you know what? Yeah, I get it. You grow up fast when you're you know, when all of your resources are constantly being groped by America's Israeli pedo oligarchs. Like, so, you know, I'm not gonna complain about it. Let's see. Dr. Abdul El Sayed, thanks for the endorsement. Oh, John Fetterman gave him an endorsement. Don't accept that endorsement. Sayed, please. I assume he's joking, but I'm like, please, dear God, do not accept an endorsement from this fucking dude. Oh my God. Have you guys ever noticed that he kind of looks like Abraham Lincoln? Wasn't Abraham Lincoln also incredibly tall? 1 second. Maybe not. Well, maybe a little. I don't know. Here, 1 second. Let me see if I can pull this up real quick. What do you think? Maybe like a little bit? I don't know. I think it's just like, oh, whoops, that's wrong. I think it's just kind of the eyebrows. He just has an old school face shape, I think. Maybe the ears a little bit too. Anyway, sorry, I got way too distracted with that. Okay, let's go ahead and continue. Yeah, don't take that endorsement, Abdul. I can't wait to work with Senator Summer Lee when we get to the Senate. I guess this is in response to this one. Senator John Fetterman, the ogre himself, also criticized Abdul El Sayed. El Sayed seeking the Democratic nomination for U.S. Senate in Michigan. The guy in Michigan is leading now in that race as my party becomes more and more hostile to Israel. Go ahead, try to win Pennsylvania and campaign around Hassan Piker. The Democrats are proud to stand with him and campaign with him. Don't you guys have Mike from PA, don't you? You should be complaining about him instead. Hassan's from California. Yeah, I mean, I honestly, we've been shown time and time again that campaigning with Hassan, or at least going on Hassan's podcast, gives you a huge boost in the polls. Like, it's, I don't know, it's a surprising amount. So, yeah, but Abdul, do not accept that endorsement. I know it's not a real endorsement. You still shouldn't accept it. Let me see. I'm gonna say, please, dear God, never accept an endorsement from this ogre. Exclamation point. There you go. Okay. I support the IRS. Israel's right to suck my balls. I like that one. That was funny. Okay, cool. Rad. Like it. What do we got? Bungler. Gabapentin. The controversial drug doctors are prescribing. Not just doctors. My vet also prescribed it for my cat. So, there you go. That's an ad, by the way, for those unaware. What? Hassan, okay, what's going on here? Hassan, this is Assemblyman Trita. Hassan Piker's remarks, sorry, okay, I'll start it for real this time. This is California's 70th Assembly District. Hassan Piker's remarks about Vietnamese refugees are deeply offensive and cannot go unanswered. Those who have chosen to campaign alongside him and anyone on the political left who has remained silent are enabling this kind of rhetoric. They have a responsibility to speak out and make clear that it is unacceptable. Here in Little Saigon, I will not stay silent when my community is targeted. We expect better from those who seek to represent and engage with our community. I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. I'm going to watch the video. I'm assuming he's talking about like Vietnamese expats, right? People who fled Vietnam's communism or whatever, that, you know, was protecting their country from the, you know, America's pedo billionaires from back then, and like going to war with them and trying to steal all of their resources and stuff. So let's go ahead and watch this video, and let's see if we can make heads or tails of what this guy is so butthurt about, because I don't even remember this comment that Hassan said.
For Vietnamese Americans, opposing communism is personal.
What did I just
political.
say?
It is why so many families came to America. Hazen Piker, a far left.
Yeah, they're probably collaborators. If I had to say, they're probably collaborators. They were probably collaborating with America. They probably fled Vietnam in the sense that like I don't know, like Southern plantation owners fled to apartheid South Africa or something, you know, like they were collaborating. I don't know. I assume that they were collaborating with America to help them invade their country and try to overthrow the current government because they hated their country. Like, so that's kind of the vibe that I'm getting, or that's like kind of my understanding of what happened with all of the anti-communist people in Vietnam during the Vietnam War era.
Commentator with a large platform was caught on video attacking a Vietnamese refugee, telling her to shut up and go back.
And we believe that...
Okay, you, dude. I mean, seriously, you, old lady. Shut the up, you stupid fucking idiotic old lady with your stupid fucking gamer headset. Who is you harder, America or fucking Ho Chi Minh? Suck my old lady.
Who's Ho Chi Minh again? President of the Democratic Republic of Vietnam. Sorry, I'm still learning a lot about Vietnam, so this is me on a learning session. Was a Vietnamese revolutionary and statesman who founded the Democratic Republic of Vietnam in 1945, known as North Vietnam, 1954. He served as first president until his death, and as its first prime minister, a committed Marxist-Leninist. Ho played a central role in establishing the Indo-Chinese Communist Party in 1930, and later led to... Okay, so I assume that he was kind of the leader of the initial communist movement in Vietnam or something. So now that we have that context, let's go back and listen to Hassan's commentary.
You stupid fucking idiotic old lady with your stupid fucking gamer headset. Who is you harder, America or fucking Ho Chi Minh? Suck my old lady. Dude, yo, this refugee, okay? Seriously, this South Vietnamese motherfucking whatever, like Christian supremacist psychotic refugee living in America now and able to talk that. Why don't you go back and live in South Vietnam in the same conditions, if that's your perspective?
I don't usually...
Yeah, I don't really know what that lady was saying. I assume that it was something atrocious. If I know anything about expats who move to America and shit on their home countries, their fatherlands or motherlands, I know that they are incredibly brutal, and they hate their former countries, and they want everyone from their former countries to fucking die. Like, honestly, like, look at what Marco Rubio thinks about Cuba. That is what like the average American expat community like thinks. If you want to know, like, honestly, like, or the Iranian expats who were out there, out there like praising and like, I don't know, getting down on their knees and sucking off Trump for like deciding to bomb that school at the beginning of the war. Like, they just get like American, like, so expats who come to America are usually like the worst, most evil people possible. That's what I'm going to go ahead and say. Or like, I mean, I'm saying like, if they're, well, because like there are, if they're not coming over as like actual refugees, like fleeing actual conflict, because those people tend to be a lot more like a lot better. Like, but I'm talking about usually it's like the it's usually kind of like those white Afrikaners or whatever who come over here and they're like, yeah, we're totally fleeing white genocide or whatever, and then they come over here and then they end up like tainting like the entire people's concept of like South Africa is like by just being the worst of the worst. It's usually a lot of that type of shit. So, or like people who don't actually need to flee because they're like rich and stuff, but they just want to be that ideological bulwark against communism, and they find that it's very profitable to come to America and like and you know, just pretend to be like against, or like, you know, continue to spout your anti-communist shit in America, because, you know, conservatives and liberals alike eat that shit like it's, I don't know, like it's pussy. I don't know. I was trying to think of an analogy. Sometimes my analogies aren't great, people. So
we respond to internet commentators, but this one matters because many politicians have campaigned with him and are still silent. His comments are not political commentary. They are deeply offensive to people who fled communism and risk everything for freedom.
What about the people who fled capitalism? Are they allowed the same stuff? I want to flee capitalism, man. Capitalism has killed way more people than communism ever could. Capitalism has killed ungodly amounts of people. I would like, people are fleeing capitalism all over the place. I would say any country that's being bombed by capitalists, like those people are fleeing from capitalism, I guess. I don't know.
She was not being attacked despite her story. She was being attacked because of it. Attacked for speaking out against communism. Vietnamese refugee. Let a regime that imprisoned people in re-education camp, took away property and freedom, and forced family to risk their life, escaping by boat.
Dude, don't threaten me with a good time. Re-education camps, seizing the property of all of these $1 trillion companies and taking all their shit from them. Oh God, you're gonna make me calm, dude. That's what I want.
In places like Westminster and Ross County, that history is still very real. So when someone mocks Vietnamese refugees, they are mocking our community sacrifice. If a conservative...
Yeah, they fled communism, I guess, in Vietnam. I assure you, if they wanted to go back to Vietnam and just live their lives over there, they're not going to be like killed when they come over there. Like, they don't have to be in exile anymore. Like, they can go over there. It's fine. People live over there under communism, which I don't know how communist the Vietnamese government actually is, but you know, they all live over there under communism, and they're like just fine. In fact, they're one of the more productive countries, I think, is my understanding, in East Asia. Like, I think that they're pretty, you know, I think that their like quality of life is, I'd have to look this all up, so take everything I'm saying with a grain of salt, but I think I'm remembering some stats on that. And yeah, I think they're doing pretty good over there. So you can always go back if you want to. Like, you're not a refugee. You're not a refugee. If you can go back and like you're gonna be fine, you're not a refugee. Like, is that controversial to say? Like, you and this lady that he's making fun of are not refugees. If you can go back and you're fine, then I don't really think you're a refugee.
Impulsa said this: there would be national outrage and call for cancellation immediately.
Yeah, if they were talking about actual refugees, if they were talking about people fleeing like a war zone that they're gonna die in, like, yeah, then yes, of course, because that's like, those people, they're usually fleeing instability that we personally are causing, and like, it's just you're trying to conflate two things. When like I said earlier, when the white South Afrikaners were like fleeing the white genocide and in South Africa, that wasn't really, they weren't fleeing anything. They weren't at risk. There was no risk to them. Most of these Vietnamese refugees, I think, would be perfectly fine going back. And like, I don't think that the communist government is going to kill them. They're not actually fleeing anything. They just don't like communism. Like they just don't like the mode of production of communism. They dislike that, so they moved here. But then they just call themselves refugees, when what they really are just expats, which we can all collectively make fun of expats because they're like annoying, and they tend to be some of the worst representatives of people from that country.
But when it comes from the far left, there is silent as excuses. There should not be one standard for the left and another for everyone else. Racism is so wrong. No matter who says, Vietnamese Americans did not come here to be told to go back. They came here because...
Yeah, God. I'm going to make the analogy one more time, just to make this clear to everybody. If I tell the white South Afrikaners that Trump like let into our country saying they're fleeing white genocide in South Africa, and I tell them to go back to their country, that I'm using a rhetorical device. I am using the language that the right tends to use against like actual people fleeing actual like genocides and war-torn countries, usually at the hands of American empire, like the death and destruction that is usually being waged like by the American empire. I am, or the destabilization at least, like when I'm doing that, I'm doing a rhetorical trick, and it is to make people consider how silly it is. Like I'm trying to show, like, I'm trying to both devalue that phrase when it comes to people on the right using it against people who are actually fleeing that, and then use it as a weapon against people who clearly aren't actually fleeing anything. Like, I don't know. This is like, maybe this is too big brain for him to understand or something. I don't know. But like, it's really not that complicated to understand the difference between people who are fleeing who are quote unquote fleeing communism versus people who are actually fleeing like war and stuff.
Because Americans stood for freedom. And if you cannot stand up for Vietnamese refugees when they are attacked, then you do not get to claim that you stand for diversity or inclusion. Respect for refugee.
Well, it's a good thing that the Democrats are throwing all of that shit in the trash right now. They're like, we were way too woke back in the day. The Democratic Party, that's basically what they're saying right now. Is like, we were way too woke. We were way too inclusive. We had too much DEI. Everybody hates us because we were too DEI focused. So we should actually not be, we should actually get rid of all of our DEI programs. So you're kind of preaching at the wrong time here, buddy. The Democrats are done with the diversity shit. Like they're done talking about that. You're trying to make this argument at the exact wrong time.
For diversity or inclusion. Respect for refugee of communism is not optional. It is part of what makes America worth protecting.
Yes, it is. We should all make fun of anybody who's quote unquote fleeing communism. It's so stupid. It is so stupid. And it's not a real, you're not a real refugee if you're fleeing communism. Now, if you're fleeing war, that's different. And if these Vietnamese people fled during the Vietnam War, they would be considered, I guess, like refugees in that case. The problem is that they were fleeing a war waged on them illegally by America. If you're siding with America against Vietnam, then you are siding with the people who are waging war and causing the destabilization of your country in the first place. So yeah, I don't know. This is fucking ridiculous. I don't know what that lady said. I'm assuming that she probably said horrific shit, probably, because Hassan usually, like, when people say horrific shit, he usually goes a little hard on them. But I don't know. I'd have to see what she said to make an honest opinion about her. But I am making fun of this guy because I heard everything that he said. And he's very much doing the classic expat move especially fleeing from communism expats. So, okay, what else we got? I don't know. Boycott mega churches. Shelby Stardust, I don't know who you are, but I would never step foot in a mega church. I don't even go to church, but so that's not that big of a deal, but okay. Iranian state media, everybody. Here we go. This is Trump. Here's Trump. You can see because it says Trump right here. I can't tell the difference, can you?
No. No.
Is he gonna try again?
No.
No. Whoa. Okay, got wrecked. Trump got wrecked. Dave Matthews Band. I don't know much about Dave Matthews Band, honestly, about their politics or anything. I know that, I mean, I like some of Dave Matthews' songs, I guess. Yeah. I mean, if he's wearing, well, I don't know if that's a keffiyeh or what, but yeah, I mean, cool. The dam's breaking. What else we got? Uh-oh. Okay, I'll watch this and I'll give my commentary.
The wheels on the bus go round and round, round and round, round and round. The wheels on the bus go round and round, all through the town.
Wow. Okay. Mamdani, I get that Obama is a popular figure generally. I personally would not associate with him if I were you. That's just me. I don't. Okay. Obama is like most American presidents, a war criminal. Okay. I'm not a fan of Obama. You know, like every American president, sure, he did some good things, but in general, he was just another neo-lib who ushered in the rise of fascism and Trump by not materially impacting or like, you know, helping the material conditions of the working class. So in general, I am not a huge Obama fan. And I don't necessarily think, I don't know what his true legacy is going to be in the future. Because we're not that far out from it. In general, I know that he is still like popular. Like, I think that he is still popular generally amongst Americans. But in my opinion, he basically planted the seeds for the Trump administration by not prosecuting the Bush administration for lying us into Iraq, for all kinds, I don't know, for all of the war crimes that he did as well, that he opened the floodgates with, for not like putting, you know, like getting rid of the CIA black sites and like actually stopping, you know, the atrocities that that we were doing, for not getting us out of Afghanistan and like way sooner. I don't know. I just think that he firmly like set the seeds for the rising fascist movement that we're living in. So I am not a big fan of him. I don't think that doing things like this, like associating with him necessarily, like if Zoran Mamdani just did this by himself or with his wife or something, for these kids, I think it would be just as good press, if not better press, because you wouldn't have lefties like me being like, you know, a little bit irked by it. But I don't know. There you go. Fox News says former President Obama and Mayor Mamdani sing "The Wheels on the Bus" with children during their first joint appearance together. How do I view the? I don't even know. Oh, I guess I was gonna click on it. Let's see what Fox News viewers say. What is this? Yeah. Okay, yeah. So a lot of I was assuming that Fox News fans wouldn't be very happy about this, but okay, I'm gonna try to find a funny one and then I'm gonna get out of here, guys. I'm going way long today. We're going till the 3-hour mark, so I gotta go eat something. That's another one. Oh my gosh. Are other people making them? Is this still Iranian state media, or is this just like everybody's making them now? Okay, I guess let's watch another Iranian state media propaganda video. I hope it's as good as the last one. The Erica Kirk one was incredible, so I'm hoping this one will be great as well. Let's watch it.
They knock on your door. Bang, bang. They knock on. Yeah, Kash Patel name on the badge. Talk big boy now stuck in the egg. Set burn it down, set clear fast.
There he is. That's recent. That's recent news. Is his well, I mean, it might have been well known, but it was recently reported on that he is just like getting so drunk that he is unable to be awoken for like major things happening at the FBI. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if that one lady whose like mom was kidnapped or whatever, if the kidnapper was trying to like call Kash Patel to negotiate her release, and Kash Patel was just in a drunken stupor, like passed out on the couch, and they're like, well, maybe next time, maybe we'll be able to make this offer next time, and they've just been unable to reach him because he's just you know, he's just always drunk.
Now you run what you used to trash. Built that image, sold that fight. Camera hit, you lost that light. All that talk don't hold that weight. For real quick when it's high stakes. Bang, bang, better ram, hit the door. Drunk, you laid on the floor. Yeah. Bang, bang, hear the sound, break it down. Break down. Built it up just to lose it now.
Okay, I got one problem with this. I think that it only takes like 1 or 2 beers for Kash Patel to get insanely drunk. He gives that vibe to me. He's also a pretty small dude, so I don't know. That's kind of I think this like I think he would be dead if he had this many beers.
Late night spin, can't stand straight. Just not too damn late. Knock, still no reply. Top C silent. Wonder why. Bring the ram, break that frame. Top of power, still the same.
No, who is that? Oh, that's his honeypot girlfriend. That's right. I forgot about her. The Israeli op, the Israeli spy who is dating Kash Patel in order to influence the Trump administration. I think that's her.
Break that frame, top of power still the same. Unreachable when it counts the most. Playing leader, acting ghost. Nashville lights, but the voice ain't there. Stage look loud, but the crowd don't care. Auto-tune dreams, no real tone. Dead crowd stay all on their phone. You fund the flights, push that show, but the streams stay flat. Don't bro, country.
I like this this outfit that they gave her, the country outfit. She is like from Israel, right? Like, she's not like some Southern girl, as far as I'm aware.
But it don't feel right. More like dress up on the stage light. You said you take it all down. Now you're lost in the sound. You said you stand your ground. Now you're falling right now. USA ice, real one skate, take real hits, play real fake.
He's playing hockey with himself. Aw. He was like a huge hockey fan, if I remember correctly. He's like pretending. He's wearing the USA hockey jersey, pretending like he's a member of the hockey team. Wow.
Lose that pace, stop right out, can't hold your place. Bang, bang, battering ram, hit the door. Kash. Drunk, you laid on the floor. Yeah. Bang, bang, hear the sound, break it down. Back down. Built it up, now we're breaking down. Bang, 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 bang.
Wait, what was that? Is this Charlie? Oh God, I love a good Charlie reference. What? An apple? Is this symbolic for something? What's this mean? The apple. What's it mean? Does anybody know? I don't know what this is. That one wasn't as good as the other ones, people. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it was fun, I guess. We got a little bit of good commentary, but I'm gonna have to find a new one to end on though, a funny one. Whoa. I'm not a big I'm not a wrestling like WWE guy, so but I guess Will Neff is, but I guess this is whoa. Crazy. I assume maybe he was actually there. Okay. Add John Ossoff. There you go. Oh, Kyle's reposting Iranian state media, people. God, he must hate America. Oh man, that's funny. Okay, let's find something. Let's find a funny one. I guess another person he's interviewing. I'll have to watch that at some point in the future. Have not seen it yet. Let's see. So Air Force reverses Biden administration, grants military funeral honors to January 6th protester Babbitt. Was she in the military? Am I crazy? I didn't think she was in the military at any point. Was Ashley Babbitt, crazy way to spell the name too, in the military? Oh, she was. Okay. Well, there you go. I mean, I don't care if they want to give her military honors, whatever. I mean, she was like a terrorist, I guess, but whatever. We give military honors to terrorists all the time. Like that's like most military honors go to terrorists. So I don't know if we're gonna like we don't need to make a, I guess this is like one of those weird things where it's like, okay, she committed an act of terror against like the US maybe, so maybe that's why they removed her military honors, whereas most of our crown eaten, you know, booger wiping boys over in the like they usually commit terrorism against people in the Middle East. So but yeah, if we give all of our homegrown terrorists the military honors, then I think that we can also give Ashley Babbitt her military honors for being another homegrown terrorist. So there you go. That's my opinion. I'm sure people love that opinion. Military people in particular, man, they get real mad at me sometimes. Ethan, so Rashid Al-Haddad, Ethan Klein called me a terrorist and ruined my life with his racism. I hate him forever. I call on Jews to stand with me. I want justice. Yeah, this must be the guy that, yeah, Ethan goes fucking insane, man. He's a crazy dude. What else we got? I'm looking for something fun. That's right. Something fun. I like the aesthetics of Pussy Riot, but I'm I don't really I don't know if I necessarily like their politics though. Like am I wrong with that? Aren't they pretty like pro NATO and like pro America, like I thought they were like kind of pro American empire and stuff. I think that they were like very much like we want America to like come liberate us in Russia or something. Like I don't know. I thought that they may have been potentially like American assets or something. I don't know. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm wrong about that. If I'm wrong about that, sorry, but okay, we're looking for something funny. Something funny. That's an ad. That's not funny. I don't know what that is. Okay, come on, something funny. Tucker's not funny. Okay, what's this? You may disagree. So this is best of Kamala Harris posting at Cory Booker. You may disagree with her on 10% of her views, but you let someone get in office who you disagree with on everything. You let somebody in office who is locking up our children. You let someone in office who is taking away our health care. Okay. I tried to tell people who didn't vote Dem in 2024 to teach Democrats a lesson. That sadly, Democrats will never learn that lesson. Here's Booker simply attacking and mocking people who didn't show up to vote Dem. It's always the voters' fault, never the Dems or their candidates. Yeah, I mean, let's watch it, I guess.
Calling it like it is. After our primaries and Hillary Clinton was our nominee, there was some people, not all people, not even most people, some people said, well, I don't like her. I don't agree with everything she says.
That was me.
I saw it with Kamala Harris. There were too many people that say, I don't agree with her on everything.
Yeah, that was me.
90 out of 100, I agree with her, but those 10, I can't do it.
God, do you hear how condescending he is? Fuck you.
Well, you may disagree with her on 10% of her views, but you let someone get in office who you disagree with on everything.
Yeah, you might disagree with her on genocide. Like, she thinks genocide is good and right, and we should continue arming and funding the genocide. And you might think that that's wrong and morally bankrupt, and we shouldn't do that. And you know what? You're just being a little child about it. You're just being a little child about genocide. Come on, get on board. Who cares? It's 10%. It's 10% of the issues. Why don't you? Why don't you get on board with her genocidal rhetoric? What are you doing? Yeah, okay. That's a great winning strategy right there. Great winning strategy. Chastise everybody who wants the Democrats to, like, everybody who wants the Democrats to win, chastise them for not being more vocally supportive of a genocidal warmonger, at least someone presenting herself as a genocidal warmonger like Kamala.
You let somebody get in office who is locking up our children. You let somebody in office
Fuck these people
who's taking away our health care.
God.
You let somebody in office who's taking away workers'
Jesus
rights.
Christ, dude. They're giving a standing ovation for him yelling at voters to say, fuck you, voters. Fuck you voters. You suck. How dare you not vote for us? How dare you not vote for us? And these fucking stupid ass people in this room, this probably $10,000 a table room, are all standing up and clapping for this nonsense bullshit. Fuck you. Jesus Christ. Ugh, this is why you guys lose all the time. Cory Booker, you are the reason. So yeah, fuck you and the horse you rode in on. Get ready to lose again when you do all this shit again, man. Seriously, just get ready to lose. You guys want to lose. You guys love losing. It's your favorite thing. I can tell because you're doing this shit right now that you love losing and you want to lose again. Jesus Christ, man. Okay, I'm getting too mad. I'm supposed to find something funny. It's so hard sometimes. Let's find something funny, please. I need to get out of here. I'm at 3 hours and 5 minutes now. Come on. Okay, maybe this will be funny.
Recently, I had my passport. I had to get it renewed.
This isn't going to be funny. I can already tell. Let's see. Come on. This, I'm assuming, is a comedy set, okay? And what I know about comedy sets is that they're supposed to be funny. So let's go ahead and watch this, and I'm hoping this will be the last one, people, because I gotta go. I gotta go. This is Abier posting, it's pretty clear Gen Z isn't a fan of Israel. So let's go ahead and watch this.
Saying the word Israel in public because everybody tightens up. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's a little scared about it. That's why I love talking shit about Israel in America. It's like talking shit about Darth Vader on the Death Star. Yeah. Everybody's like, I don't know, bro. I can't breathe. just behind me. I'm not anti-Jewish. I'm anti-Israel. There's a difference. Whenever Israel strikes like another country, they just are like, hey, it was us and the Jews. You know what I'm saying? It's like they're CCing the Jews on all the genocide. It's like, hey, just so you know, me and the Jews killed your families. It wasn't just us. It was also Eric from Portland. It's like, I think all Americans have somewhat similar beliefs on Israel, right? Israel is like Bill Cosby. All right? Yeah. After 40 accusations.
Except a lot worse. A lot worse. Israel is a state. Bill Cosby is a person. The amount of violence that Israel can subject people to, in particular Palestinian women. Like, I guarantee that the IOF has raped hundreds of times more people, more Palestinian prisoners, Palestinian women than Bill Cosby ever could. Like, they are raping Palestinian women at like an industrial scale. Over in those prisons in Israel. So just saying, one is significantly worse.
Like Bill Cosby. All right? After 40 accusations, they're fucking up to something. Bill Cosby and Israel do the exact same shit. Bill Cosby, back when he was active, right? He would tell girls, he'd be like, oh my God, look, I'm on the TV. And Israel does the same shit with us. They're just like, oh my God, look, Charlie Kirk got shot.
Okay, that was a good ending. I'm gonna call it on that one, people. It was he was pretty funny. He got me with the Charlie Kirk thing. I love a good Charlie Kirk joke or Charlie Kirk reference. So okay, cool. Well, I hope you all enjoyed the stream. It was a long one, an extra long one for all you wonderful Claytriots out there. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. If you're watching the VOD, thank you. Appreciate it. And yeah, that is all. This has been Technically Clay, and the stream is technically over. Bye-bye.